Mahjong League. I am joined by Blane. Blane, how you doing?
Hey there, it's good to be here.
So we're doing some A2 matches, and we start off with Ryan as first dealer. Looking at
Getting
the
right
hands, we
into
have
it.
pretty nice pinfu shapes. For dealer, off on the right, we have maybe a distant 1 3 Sanchoku, a little bit disconnected, especially with that 1 2 5 7 9 in Mon. Across the way, we have maybe the same type of thing. Needs some draws really come together. Okay, that really helps. You have a Hatsu pair, can call a bunch of stuff, maybe a Chanta type hand, but probably go for fast try to connect to that white Dora. Off on the left, we have another standard Pinfu shape, maybe a 6 7 8 Sanshoku. Plenty of options here. So, what do you think?
What do I think? Well, it seems like we're about midway on a lot of these hands. Again, you said some of those Yakuhai are coming together, especially across the table. Um, but yeah, it's still a little early on here. I know we're just diving right into this. Uh,
Yeah, we're always a little concerned. You see that turn one Dora drop,
that's true.
especially when you see the discard. You're wondering what on earth is Onwe going for, and we see it's a cheat toy. Looking at the hand, and it's kind of disappointing. You'd really like to have that Dora pair in there.
Mm. Or maybe he just assumes it's not gonna. He might be trying to prioritize maybe something faster. If because perhaps someone's already holding on to the white, and in this case, the player across Farcon is.
Well, it could have gone for Toy Toy calling the 8 pin, but really it wouldn't be any value there. So I like the pass. As we look at these hands, they're really starting to come together. We're kind of in that early to mid hand position where everyone's like one or two more draws and it's set. But the big hand is off on the left. That is actually an Ishan 10. Now could have taken the
Mhm.
Tenpai. Was Ishan 10 for a Sanjuku on the 6 7 8?
Yeah, and still looking for the 7 pin there, perhaps.
Yeah, decided not to take the Tenpai because it would be Ricci only and tries to shift this to a 5 6 7.
Trying to
Still
get some
Tenpai,
value.
Dama waiting. I thought a Yaku on the 7 pin. Interesting decision. You draw the 7 to Euphoria 10 Ricci.
That would be true. Yes.
You could.
Um,
I don't think I really like it with 3 5 pins out. I'd just probably take the Ricci at this point, even though the shape and value's bad. The only
mhm.
concern is where are those Dora? It's always a concern. Of course, I saw the first one come out,
Yeah.
and really, Ennui's hand hasn't progressed much.
And we are still just very. Again, this is just the first hand.
リーチ
It might be perhaps favorable to get a start, no matter how small it is, just to get some early game dominance. And there's the reach.
Okay, yeah. Looks like a Kargiri Ricci, draw 6 mon, Ricci on 6 mon.
チ
And so waiting just on that 7 pin for Ricci.
Farcon calling the 789 of Sozu there.
Nice little Ishan 10 can call either the Haku or the Hatsu or
There
just
it
draw
is.
it. That's easy. You're
Sumo.
waiting on the 8 pin, but shut
Oh,
down
there it
with the Sumo on the Ricci for Ricci Sumo. No Aura, but Lanxia takes the nice lead to begin with East 1 down.
is. A respectable lead. We'll see how she builds on it moving forward.
And here we are in East 2. Dealer has really nice starting hand. Really extra door in
Mm.
there. You have a Pinfu, Tanyao, possibly Sanchuku, possibly Peiko, all sorts of shapes. Off on the right, we have a weird set of 9 pin that doesn't really go together with the rest of the hand. May end up being Ricci only. With those two Dora, you're fine with a standard Ricci hand. Across the way, we have a pair of West, which are the Yakuhai, and
Boom.
now builds a shape around the pin, calls the West, and can probably just go speed, maybe a shift to Honitsu, but we'll see. And off on the left, we have a little bit of a slower hand. You have 2 3 5s you like to fill in. One's, of course, the 2 3 5 7s. There are lots of ways they can go, but no Yakuhai just feels slow compared to the rest of these.
Yeah, they started with a lot of wins in that opening hand there. And as you can see, they're trying to discard a lot of those honors now just because they didn't quite go together. And of course, none of them were the North, which is the seat wind. So hopefully they can pick up some speed here.
Well, that 4 pin will really help this hand. Doesn't give much value, and that's the only thing you're really concerned about. Maybe a 2 3 4 Sanchuku, you cut the 5 mon next, and then you have a perfect Ichanten. Oh, yeah, definitely get the 5 mon here. Great shape.
Mm.
Ooh,
Speaking
okay.
of,
Cuts the south. I don't like that. I think it's a lot
hmm,
more direct to just throw the 5 mon. If you still have the path for Sanchuku, you still have the Pinfu, even if it's Ricci Pinfu. goes back and really doesn't get much from it other than the ability to call.
That's right. There goes the other south. That could have been a good structure to at least kind of finish the hand off again, like you said, with the San Shoku. But take a look at the dealer now. We got some the Anko of the 8
Really
Mon,
wide
and
Ishan
there
10.
it is. Yes, Ishanten now. And
Of course, you'd really like to draw the 6 Mon and the 6 So and confirm this Tanyao, but you'll take any Ricci, especially with its 4/7, where the 7, of course, is Dora.
yeah, the 7. Of course, those 3 sevens are currently residing in Farcon's hand over there. Looking pretty strong with the 7s and the 9s. That's
Yeah,
definitely
it's a
going to break this
Ryaman
game.
Ishan 10. But
Ooh.
this is always the problem when you have Dora, is they're not coming out for Rhinos, you have to draw them. And if someone's hoarding them, well, you'll find out eventually. Well,
And
everyone's
there it
about to
is.
find out. Yeah,
Calling the
there it is,
con.
Con.
Oh.
And interestingly, that makes the 5-pin Dora, but you can't use the 7. So you have 2 players that really need the 4-pin now, and there are only 2 of them left in the wall.
Decision time. Do you want to hold out for him?
Well, you're about to, and you'll absolutely call this one. Take the
Oh,
Tenpai.
there you go.
That fixes the choke point in this hand. It's fairly cheap with the 2,000 waiting on the 5, so,
At this
but you're
point,
fine with.
yeah, and at this point, you just want to shut down that Doricon.
That's one where even if dealer throws in for 2,000, says, this is perfectly fine, cheap enough for me. Ooh, could
Oh,
come
there's
out
the
right
4.
here, though. This will be a Ricci probably
Yes,
with
it
the
is.
5 so
Oh.
coming out, dealing in for the 2,000. A little disappointed you can't get the Sanjuku, Tanya, Dora in there, but it does shut down the 4 Dora hand, and you move on to East 3.
And does lengthen that lead. Now 4,000, sorry, 50,000, sorry, 45 from second place at this point. I can
And as I look
numbers.
at these hands, we have a very nice Pinfu shape. You'd like to fill in that 3 so Penchon, but pretty straightforward, especially Dora would be nice. Off on the right, we have very nice shape. I believe that's Ishanten. Yes, that looks, no, it's not quite Ishanten, but it's very wide Rienshanten. Across the way, we have more beautiful Tanyao type shapes, and that actually is Ishanten. And
Wow,
off on the
very
left, ooh,
quickly.
that 3-pin really helps. The shapes aren't quite coming together because you have a Ryankon in Mon with a 3/5/7 and a couple Kanchons in So, but you do have the Yakuai you can call. Not much value here, but you'd like to just get this hand over with.
And it looks like the dealer is on track to pick up a Honba, perhaps, very quickly here. Good shapes with the.
Because up on the right, we have a perfect Ishan 10.
This is true. It's all going to be who gets that last little bit of oomph across the finish line here, or at least a Tenpai.
Well, we could end up, of course, with 2 Richis, but for now, you have to draw that last tile.
So,
ooh, that 8-mon doesn't really fit into the hand. You're starting to see them die. That's always something you have with a bunch of situations where the 9-mon Dora is so many people often end up looking
there's the
for that
7, though.
8-mon. Yeah, but it's not Tenpai yet. You cut the 1-2 and theoretically end up on the Nobiton, and that's what's happening. In the meantime, we're trying. Ooh, nice little draw off the 1, so we'll have the ability to add Sanjuku, maybe even Chanta off to Ennui's hand.
Oh, yeah.
Harkon's still looking for a pair. Lots of options now.
I wonder how. I mean, for that Sanshoku you were mentioning, 2 of those Tumons are looking like sitting pretty comfy in the hand across, in Ryan's hand there.
Well, it doesn't look so good now, just with the other shapes that have come together. But you do have that lone 1-mon out there. There's a distant Itsu, but of course, with the 8-mon dead, that's pretty distant. We do have Tenpai Dama waiting on 2-mon 3-pin across the way. It would just be Tanya only, but you'd move the hand around to get back over 30.
Yeah, and it's still early on, and this game is really yet to be cracked open with a super score yet. So it's still a way
Now
to
we
stay
have a
competitive.
Tenpai off by Ennui, can take the Ricci only, waiting on the 3 so, or can get a little greedier, cutting the 1-2 so.
That's true. but there's not a lot of sorry, so's. Oh
That's
yeah,
the
there are two so's left.
tune. Okay,
Yes.
could have. I don't
Each.
like the tune cut here. I mean, I realize there are two out, but you could have just gone for it. In the meantime, we have a Richi Nomi for the dealer, Nobeton waiting on 609 so. We see a whole bunch of those off on the hand on the
Each.
right and two discarded. But in the
Chi.
we see an immediate chase down with Ryan Sumagiri Richi, which is called on the door.
It's interesting here. Who's going to get this first?
It's Ricci Tanya versus Ricci. Not too many door being used right now, but it's really hard to use that 9, especially when you see all the 8.
That's true. They're going to be, if they get it, it's going to be, oh, here's the 2.
And
Draw
Anwi
gonna
pulls
keep
into
it.
Tenpai, waiting on that 2 so. There's only
Mhm.
one left on the wall, though, so it doesn't look very good. Ooh, could wait on Dora Donkey. I would like that.
Let's see.
Would just be Itsu Dora 1 right now. Oh, and it would have come out. Oh. The
You hate to
9 month
see it.
does come right back.
Now the last couple tiles, there's an East that's not going to do anything, and a 5 that's not either. Whole table
All 4
Tenpai.
end up in Tenpai. Lexia
Oh, boy.
manages to get in the standard Pinfu type hand late, but no Ricci, and we move on to the first hombo with the 2 Ricci sticks in the middle. So you're probably thinking fast hand here. Dealer has a really nice hand, callable, bunch of sets, maybe Tanyao. You can't really use Dora immediately, but you draw like the 3-4 of their options. Off on the right, ugh, that's messy. I'm not sure what you do with that. That disconnected. Almost, especially that first turn Dora drop, probably just going Kokushi, honestly. Across the way, we
Why
have
not?
pretty standard Pinfu shape. Would really like to draw the 3-mon to fill in that Penchon. And off on the left, we have a North pair, so probably just looking to call that and go as fast as possible.
I'm liking the Pinzu shapes here in the dealer's hand coming together in a pretty big way. Oh, there's another pair.
Yeah, you just got the
Still-
1. The question is what happens
just
if the
4.
8 comes out? You just call the 8 so? I think you
Chi.
probably do and just go for the tiny. There's so much value in the middle of that 23.
Absolutely. And
Well, that makes
who's
it
one-
easier.
Oh yeah. So Ipeko perhaps is a definite possibility now. There's another 7 so just getting dropped though.
Anyo Ipeko, interesting option whether you'd reach that or not. Ooh, okay, that's a
Hmm.
very wide Shanten. I think you cut the 7 pin because you now also have the ability to Sanjuku on 5, 6, 7.
So let's take, I mean, the other 7. So there's one in the hand across. And
Chi.
2 others, I guess, are in the wall.
Okay,
Calling
does
Chi.
just go ahead and call the Chi for the 5, 6, 7 Sanjuku. Would also, of course, take the
Chi.
8 to win the hand, but it will be tiny on possible Sanjuku for deal.
Still, it's a good layup Tenpai. Keep put another Honba in and stay as dealer. And again, still
Sumo.
very close game, and there it is. Sumo.
Just the 500 all, but with the 2300 in the middle, a notable hand gets right up in your first place.
And just another step, and you're there.
And we're in Homba 2 of each 3.
Ooh,
Dealer
2
head.
more and the dealer hand all day.
Yeah, you love that hand. You really like the 2 so to come in, but other than that, that hand's great. Off on the right, we have pretty standard pin fu, maybe an Apeco in pin. Across the way, we have an Anko of 6 pin, but we really look at those honors. If you can call the Hatsu, you probably just go straight forward and fast. And off on the left, we have a pair of West, but doesn't really do anything. You're probably just thinking your standard pin fu shape. Now with that 2, 3, 4, 6, you will be able to accept Dora for possible 3-sided.
Taking a look at the. So you think they're going to hang on to the West there? It looks like.
Well,
Perhaps
you have to have a pair
pick the
somewhere, but I
7.
think
Yeah,
something
exactly.
notable happened off on the right. Decided to pass the con, but does have the
Hum.
Anko of the Haku. But in the meantime, we see that Hatsu did get called from across the way. Could have
Already
thrown the
getting
5 pin and just taken the Tenpai. Instead, gets a little greedy. We'll see if that pays off.
Dealer picking up another pair here. Not sure if they're. I mean, that's an option, but well, probably not.
Oh, and there's the backfire on the 1 so. Now has a Furry 10 3-sided weight. Could have hit the Sumo if you would have taken Tenpai. And in the meantime, we have the Ricci on the 5-8 mon. Off on the left for Ennui for Ricci, possible Dora with pin.
Two of the
So how
fives
many
are
are
locked
there?
out.
Yeah, we just see the two in the dealer's hand. That means there are 6 outs in the wall.
That's true. A very respectable reach, of course. Very confident. That's the 8. He kept the 8 there and dropped the 4, I guess, to kind of defend now. He's going into defense
We
mode.
have
The
a
dealer.
lot of options here, and you see the 3-5 pins out at this point. But I think was also considering the possible shift to Sanchuku. But now that you've seen more, you're like, okay, there isn't any realistic path forward, so we'll just play safe. Lay down, breaks up the Haku Anko. Now, dealer has backed into a nice little Ishan 10, waiting for 2-so and 7-so. The 7-so would be Furi 10, though. Ooh, and across the way, gets out of Furi 10 is now Shampone on the 3-so 8 pin.
Dropping
The
the
8 pin
7,
is
and that's
Suji, so it could come out any time. Ooh, that Foreman looks super dangerous, but force it anyway, and stays Tenpai.
Draws another safe tile. Dealer's getting away with this for a little bit. Still got 19 tiles to go through, though.
Ooh, that's 7. That 7-1 isn't that scary. Interesting that the 6-1 comes out. That gives a lot more options for safe tiles for a lot of people at the table.
Sometimes wonder if they can see exactly how dangerous their hand is getting at points.
Well, so I'm looking at Farcon, and I'm wondering if he notices that Hatsu's been called, because I would have thrown that a long time ago. That's a guaranteed safe tile. Is now Ishan 10 for Chitoitsu, actually.
Yeah, why not drop the Hatsu? Besides, not
Instead, breaks it up. Yeah, I definitely. Oh, draws Dora. I don't think you can throw that. Yeah, breaks it up. You just can't. There are plenty of tiles you can throw into this, but you don't want to throw the Dora because but in the meantime, Anhui hits the sumo on the cheap end for Ricci sumo Pinfu no aura for 700, 1300, and should put him right around 30,000. That's where we are. Moving on to East 4.
Still in third, believe it or not. That's just how close this game is.
Well, in fourth place at 26-5, that tends to happen. But looking at these hands, dealer has a pretty nice standard shape. Maybe a 3-4-5 Sanchuku. Off on the right, we have Tanyo type shapes. Couple extra floaters, maybe distant 4-5-6 Sanchuku. Across the way, we have standard Pinfu hand, maybe an Ipeiko with a 7-8-9 or 7-8-6, where 8 pin is Dora. So lots of options. You'd really like to be able to. Ooh, great Ishan 10 now. Goes ahead and cuts the 7 pin for perfect Ishan 10. Off on the left, we have nice shape in pin, but it feels really slow, especially when we're seeing what we are across the.
Getting to Ishan 10 with just 3 drops.
Picks up the north pair. Could always call that and play a little more aggressively, which if you saw what was on the table, I definitely would.
And that's really all you'd need to make some more traction in this close match.
Be only 1,000 or maybe, I guess, 1,300 because of the closed Anko of 9. So, okay, definitely. You know which way you're going now. Cut the 1-so here. You can cut the 5-7 later. Lots of ways for this hand to move forward relatively safely, too. But in the meantime, we have Tenpai across the way for Ricci Pinfu Dora, discarding the Dora.
For the 6 or the 9 pin there. And we're seeing 3 of the 6s locked up in the hands pretty tightly, and 2 of the 9s as well as the pair.
Well, there's a third 9, so running out of outs quickly. In the meantime, dealer calls looking for the Tanya to shut this in. Ooh, we have another Tenpai. Ricci throws the 5-so, which will probably get called here. Tenpai waiting on the north wind and the 9 pin.
9's very dangerous now.
Oh, and it's drawn by dealer. Is it thrown in double road? Holds it for now. I think if dealer gets to Tenpai, though, it's going to come out. But it comes out on the right first. A double road as Ryan feeds both. And we have a Ricci Pinfu Dora. And Anhui, of course, gets both Ricci sticks. And off to left, just the Ricci Hatsu with some extra foo. And we move to South round.
Mm, not pretty, but just the south round and your dealer, so you have plenty of chances to fix that back up.
Yeah, you're looking at the rest of the table saying you need a big hand here, and there are possibilities for this one. May just be a tiny hand. You have a lot of options, especially now. You have two great mon shapes. You draw the 7 pin. This hand did business off on the right. We have, unfortunately, that's where two of those 7 pins are. But a standard pin fu shape. You have a door, a great shape in. So across the way, we have a couple pairs disconnected. What you really like to do is add Itsu in. So because you have 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And off on the left, we have what, 4 pairs? So possible Chitoitsu.
Hmm.
Other than that, could always go normal hand, especially if the 7 pin is drawn or the 3-so is drawn.
There's some progress, a little bit, being made by the dealer here with the 3-4-5 sequence, as well as a 5-6, waiting on a resolution there. And a couple of pairs right now that are buddying up with some of the other tiles. Really, just the 2-so is the only thing really sticking out right now.
Chi.
And
Calls it
Laxia's
Chi.
gonna ahead and wait a bit to make a decision on this hand. Throws the 2-so, which gets called for Tanyao, but not quite sure what shape you want to go yet with, given the 7 Mononko. Still could be Chi Toy, could be Toy Toy, could just be Ricci.
Sounds like he's betting on, Ryan maybe betting on doing a lot of small hands, at least at the beginning here, to start regaining some traction in this match.
Well, you can't afford to lose your last dealer in this far back, so I like the aggression.
Aggression and the speed. And calls the pwn on the 5-mon.
Interesting, cuts
Shanten
the
now.
6 pin, which is a little less efficient, but keeping the 5-so around allows you to accept door.
This is true.
And across the way, you have an Ishanten for Chitoitsu.
Oh, yes. It's looking quite nice. Could also be Ipeco as well. Depending on how
Oh,
that
in the
shakes out.
meantime, we see the 8-so get called, and Ryan's Tenpai now waiting on 7-mon for Tanya only.
But the 7s are alive and well over on the left in
Pretty
Lancia's
locked
hand.
up. Both players holding 7-mons. Of course, we see 3 off on the left, 1 on the right, and they're all being used.
Right. Well,
Now,
possible
possibly
opportunity
there is,
to.
yeah, you may be able to get to Cheeto. Now, interesting option here on the 7 pin. Do you call it and just go for the Tanya, figuring you'll need the 6-mon along the way? I probably would have called that.
Trying to find some extra oomph to this hand. I mean, you're already in the lead.
Well, when you have 2 Dora, you can always be a little more reckless, because that's the other part of having 2 Dora. You know that they don't have your 2 Dora.
That is true. And draws the red dragon there. That's not going to work for that. Late game honors coming out here. There's
Yes,
the
this is
West.
when hands are trying to slim down and just go for the efficiency, because everyone feels this hand's one of the, everyone's like 1 or 2 draws away, and even without seeing the hands, that's how you're looking at it. We see it. That's exactly the situation we're in. Ooh, nice little upgrade with the 5. Instead, calls the con. Could have taken the shape upgrade. Goes for the con for extra door, and now Shampoo on the 6-mon 8-pin.
8 pins are a little bit looser here, it looks like.
It might come out right
especially
here.
over on the left.
Okay, holds
Not
off
this
on it
time.
for another turn.
1-6 Manzu has been discarded. The other one's in the wall. There's only 12 tiles left in said wall.
I think Ennui's just folding at this point. Interesting option here. Do you throw the 8-pin? Relaxia. Nothing else really fits, but it doesn't look that dangerous, but does dodge it. Oh no, and there's the 6-mon that Ennui was looking for most of the hand.
What a shame. Meanwhile, across Farcon's, it's looking more like doing a more of a standard hand here, and
Yeah,
well, more
Ryan
just
says,
folding
hey,
it out.
you know what's better than winning Tanya? Getting 3,000 from no 10 payments.
Exactly.
And look at these hands. Dealer has pretty standard Pinfu hand. Would really like to pull in that 4-so for Dora. Off on the right, we have really nice shape in Mon with a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Other than that, maybe Chanta type shapes. Really awkward. But you have the Penchon 8-9 so and Kanchan 7-9 pin. Across the way, we have pretty standard Pinfu hand. And off on the left, we have an Anko of Haku, the White Dragons, and a Dora, so probably just call and go.
It's always helpful to get that Yaku knocked out of the way right at the beginning, and made a little progress with that one so pickup.
Meanwhile, dealer's now Ishan 10, looking for the 7 pin and then either 4 so or 7 so.
It's up the six pin. Gonna just wash it out there.
Yeah, it goes a little Karagiri. I'd have probably thrown the 3 so
Gee.
there. Take a little wider shape on your weaker options. The 3 so doesn't really do anything for this, but does keep the possible Sanchuku open.
Drawing, dropping the one so in favor of the one pin.
Well, when you see a hand with that many of one suit, you get, maybe I should go Honitsu? Wait and see. Ooh,
I
interesting.
think
I think you
Wall
just cut
is
the 1 pin
dodging
now.
in there. Interesting. So I think may see the 9 pin drop next. Looks like they're choosing more of a standard hand in that case.
Called the
Going for that
3 mon
Honitsu.
there for Tenpai. Decided to just get close and get a little more value out of this. I think I would have called, especially given the 2000, make yourself really close to first place.
Exactly. You got a Yaku in already.
T.
In the
So cut it
meantime,
in.
we have Tenpai across the way for Shaw only. Just look for the West. But Langchi
There's
is
the reach.
rewarded with the Tenpai. This is Richi Hakudora waiting on the 3-6 mon. And we see a few of them, but 3 mon and 1 6 mon. So a bunch of, well, there's the
And there's
Ipatsumo. Richi,
Wow.
Ipatsu, Sumo, Haku, Dora, any aura for Hanemon. Yes, the Hanemon.
Wow. And that
Well,
just
all of a
cracked
sudden,
the
this
match
game
open.
goes from being really close to a complete blowout, and Ryan's in deep trouble.
It's tough losing your last dealership to that.
Look at the hands. Dealer has Haku pair, extra door. Not really sure what you can do with the pay, but if you pair it up or even wait on a Tonki, you'd be fine. Most likely, though, it's going to be a cheap hand. Off on the right, we have possible 4-5 stick Sanchuku or 3-4-5 Sanchuku. Probably a Pinfu type hand across the way. Looks like a 7-8-9 Sanchuku with an extra Dora floater. Looking for a pair anywhere. And off on the left, we have more Sanchuku hands. This one looks like a 1-2-3. So I think we're noticing a theme.
Boom.
Yeah, a lot of sequences and such. It's a good prime Pinfu real estate. Absolutely here.
Also have possible Itsu off on the left. So you're always trying to keep your options open to get some value, especially being Ryan sitting down 14,000 from third place. So either of those would do.
I could boost his score and his confidence.
Ooh, interesting decision here for Onweed. You just throw the Dora now and take the wider Ishan 10? No, because I really want some value out of this.
T.
And
In the
no
meantime,
Norths have been dropped yet, so you might
the
as well hold
7
out for some value.
the 7 mon is discarded and called, locking in the 7-8-9 Sanjuku, and does not take Tenpai. Says, I also want to be on that pay tonk. Oh, and there's the backfire for Onwe. Draws the 8, so would be Tenpai now on 2-5. And in the meantime, we have a Ricci off on the right. We will just be Ricci only, waiting on 2 so 9 pin.
3 pin there. I'm not seeing the other 2 pins out there yet, so good there. Though one of the 9s is already discarded, and the other one is in the hand across right now.
Ooh, throwing the Dora live into the Ipatsu Ricci. Bold move.
Especially with no other Norths out on the board yet. Interesting. But that's all for the speed to get this hand rounded up and get some dealer rounds in. That's kind of the challenge now for everyone at the table to catch up with that big Hanemon we just experienced.
Yeah, interesting options for basically everyone at this table. How aggressive you're going to play. And yeah, now that the North has come out and proven safe, and I bet we see a call for Tenpai here.
T.
And we
Now,
do.
which way?
Sumo.
Okay. Oh, but in the
Oh.
meantime, there's the sumo for Richie Sumo. No aura, but does get Farcon back over 30,000 and into second place, moving into South 3.
Positive territory. That can be a very good goal to set, even if first place is far off. Just get in that positive territory, gain you some points.
Well, we look at this, we see a whole bunch of pairs, possible toy, but okay,
Oh,
definitely taking the Chunonko. You have a lot of options here. You'd like to add Dora, maybe toy, but really anything's fine, especially with DR off on the right. We have very standard Pinfu shape with 2 Dora, probably an Ipeco. You're really happy to see that. Across the way, we have also a nice little Pinfu type shape. Not quite Ishanten, but pretty close. And off on the left, we have what would be a decent hand. It's just looking at the rest of these, it's probably not going to finish.
So yeah, we're getting close with the dealer picked up another white dragon there.
Well, the question is, you
Seeming
go
to.
Honitsu, and how aggressive are you?
That's right. That drop of the 9 so made it think like he's at least considering that option.
In the meantime, Ryan is now perfect Ishan 10. It would just be Ricci only. So I wonder if he's a little more aggressive, try to go for like Sananko. Oh, great draw off on the right, though. Now you have a probable Ramen, or you could go headless. Decides to go headless, figuring there are a lot of options here. You will be Tenpai on any of 1, 2, 4, 5 pin, or 6, 7, 8, 9 so.
Dealer picks up the south there, trading it for the west. There's a south on the board already, so he thinks he can pick up the other 2 of those, perhaps.
I guess 3 pin also would be Tenpai. That's just really awkward.
Or
2, 3,
it
3,
could
3, 4.
It could also be looking at perhaps stacking into
yeah.
Cheeton.
Takes the Dama, waiting on 6, 9 so for Pinfudora.
Interesting. Calls the Chi there. Looks like he's going for Yakuhai and or
Riichi.
Honitsu. Well, no, he just put down the 3-mon, so maybe not.
Interesting option there. You could have also taken the weight on the 2-5 pin off the right for Lanxia. Instead, throws it back. But figures, we're seeing a lot of calling here, so that's good enough. But off on the left, we are Tenpai waiting on 3 so, 6 so, where 6 so would be. No, it's not Sanshuku, but we do have just Tenpai, and just gives it up. Says, I've had enough of this. It's dealer's job to fight this. I don't care.
Dropping out of Tenpai. The 8 mons. 7 so.
Ooh, Tenpai now, you throw the
6
6-mon. Yeah, you're waiting on 4 7 so for just Chun.
Sozus are getting pretty dangerous out there.
I would have called the Haku and gone for a little more value, but decides the better weight is the way to handle this.
Yeah, keep Tenpai and just ride that out. Again, you're dealer, so speed is favored right now.
Long.
Oh, there's the 4, and yes, good thing. Good decision.
Rewarded with the cheap 1,500 point hand, but does get the Ricci stick too and a direct hit off the main competition. And now we're starting to see first, second, and third pretty well split. But looking at these hands, dealer has possible 4, 5, 6 Sunsku, but really looks pretty slow. Off on the right, we have a Chun pair and really nice shapes in pin. Across the way, we see, well, I'm not quite sure what you're going to do with that. Maybe a Honitsu, especially if you can pair up that Chun. And off on the left, we have pretty nice shapes, just a Tanyao. Not seeing too much value yet, but maybe very distant shift to Chinitsu.
Is interesting.
But I think the most important thing right here, we have a Chun pair off on the right. So the question is, how greedy do you want to be? And that's a super greedy tile. Now you're thinking that Honitsu, Chun, Dora 3, maybe even Toy.
That's that could definitely just seal the match up right there.
Keeps drawing pin tiles and just going all out
Mm.
for it. Don't blame Lexi at all.
When the wall gives you this, you take it, man.
Well, and this is the other thing to consider is when one person draws a bunch of one suit, someone else probably draws a bunch of one suit too. We see across the way with Ryan really trying to put together this So Honitsu, but the tune's going to be really rough.
And at the hand of
Or I could
crossbow.
just give him a blessing by saying it's going to be hard to draw as he gets the last one out of the wall.
Mm.
And in the meantime, we have a Dama waiting on 6 Mon off to the left
Boom.
for Tanya only. Ryan
Hong
calls the
Kong.
east. Not Tenpai yet, but a very wide Ishanten.
Absolutely. For Honitsu, especially. Honitsu with 2 Dora and, well, a win that's not yours, but that doesn't matter in this case.
Yeah, and you're perfectly fine just winning the 8,000 even that far down. Interesting option here for Farcon is now Ishanten for Cheetor would be a really ugly one. Would have to throw a bunch of pin into Lanxia. Throws the 7, is called, and Lanxia is now Ishanten. But I believe that is so close to Tenpai, but just not quite there. I think the 7 so would have been Tenpai. Yeah, if you cut the 7 so that Shampoo on 2 so Chun goes for a super greedy play, cutting the 8 so.
Well, you need greed right now when you're this far back with only 2 rounds to go. There's the 6 Mon. Looks like, though,
It's going to
it
be a
has a good
sumo
place.
for Tanyao, sumo Tanyao, unless there's a 3-sided Furry Tenrichi. But that would be, oh,
Well, but there's the 8 Mon.
what?
And decides not to call it.
I don't understand that play at all. You either take the sumo or you take a 3-sided Furry Tenrichi. The 3-sided Furry Ten Dama doesn't do you any good. In the meantime, you should see a pwn here, or even a pwn, and waiting on the 5-8 pin. Oh
There's the
no!
5
Oh no! And deals into Mungon. Should have just taken the win. And just like that, Ennui drops way below 30,000. Is going to have a lot of work to do. And in the meantime, Ryan says, hey, I can get third now.
Absolutely, and that's kind of locked. Again, like you said, very much locked in now. Now, with these rules, the dealer can keep winning even though they're in the lead, and keep building up points and being able to cash in a pretty big UMA score at the end of it.
Yeah, you'd love to run it up. Without Agariyama, there's a disadvantage and an advantage to last dealer. The advantage is no one can stop you. If you get on a tear, nothing will be able to block you. The corollary, which doesn't apply here so much, is you have to face off dealer and you have to be able to pass off in order to secure a win.
Pass off gracefully.
So, yeah, so occasionally you'll see people trying to deal into those cheap thousands and maintain a small lead, or even breaking Tenpai in the last draw to pass things on. But in the meantime, you look at this hand, you're going, oh my goodness, that's a beautiful shape with the 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 so completed shape in pin, a really close shape in Mon. Off on the right, we have a Cond non-Onko, which is now a Con for the Daiming Con. Possible Honitsu. Doesn't really get a useful Dora, would need the 6 Mon now. But Hatsu's the main Dora. Across the way, we have nice little 2, 3, 4 Sanjiku that may come together, but also looking at those 2 Dora may just go directly for it, and does. Off on the left, we have very standard pin fu shapes. That's now Ishan, 10 look for 7 pin and 4 or 7 so.
Ryan,
Now we
thinking,
cannot call that 9 pin because no Yak.
Yes. Ryan may be thinking, what can I do to just get into third and just keep keep as many points from getting lost as possible here.
Yeah, after what happened last hand, just want to limit the damage a little bit. Interesting discard for Lanxia, playing very defensively right off the bat. I think I'd have played for a little more value.
Yeah, see that. Farcon hanging on to the green and the red dragon right now.
Yeah, Lanxia is completely out of this hand. Figures that Ennui probably has about what we're seeing here with Kudora.
And again, this is how you pass off gracefully.
An interesting option here. Could have taken the round man, but it'd be 40-10, so I like throwing the 7 mon. Ooh, and that'll
Gee.
get Ryan to
Whoa.
Tenpai waiting on the 2-pin. Wouldn't be much value, though, but it would be Chanta, double non. And let's see, that is 5,200, I believe. So would need to sumo to get second.
Or a Roan off
Or,
of,
of course, a direct
off
hit, yeah.
Ennui. Yeah.
And Ennui sees the same thing, goes, okay, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But waiting for that 2-pin, there are 2 of them.
So
Ooh,
still
and that
hang
could
on to
set
the
a possible
Wests.
Suji trap there. Dealer might throw this if 2 pins drawn.
Interesting. It's always nice when that comes together. There's the 5. Pot 2 looking very safe right now.
Yeah, and Ryan has no reason to fold. Even though this 7 mon, they look kind of dangerous, you just don't care. Ooh, and Ennui
There's the
backs
2.
into Tenpai with Dora 3. Waiting on 2-5 so.
Farcon, though, picked up another 2 and is hanging on to it. Maybe he does see something's amiss there.
Well, just looking for that 1-2 pin in the wall then. And running out of tiles. There's 3 more. Chun will be safe, and Ennui can safely throw the 1. So, and we have 2 players, Tenpai, and that will lock up the game with Lanxia in first with a pretty big win. Farcon managing to stay over 30,000 for getting the +5 UMA. Ennui with the -11.8, and Ryan in the back with 16,600 and -28.4.
Going to put Lanxia into the lead on the pool there. A considerable amount. That's incredible. More than doubling your UMA score in just one game.
Well, we are pretty early on in the season, but if you're looking at those stats and going 2 wins and a third, you're thrilled with that.
Absolutely. It's a very good momentum heading into the final game of this session, especially. That will set the other 3 down into negative territory. But again, you said early in the season, they could come back to positive from just this next game, perhaps.
Yeah, if you're Vincent, you're a little disappointed with that. A first, a second, and just 1/4, and you're at -9. So really rough fourth and not that strong a first, but you're in positioning for any of these players. It's a long season. No one's even remotely close to danger at this point. We have 6 sessions. And this is just the first.
Absolutely. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where this goes from here, especially with this brand new season, like you said, and a lot to still develop here in the A2 division.
Well, the A2 league players, almost all of them scheduled their game for the second week. So even though we are 9 days into the session, we have no one who's completed an entire round yet.
That is true, and still the 4 in the middle there haven't played a game yet. So,
Well, the
this
corollary is that means there are a bunch of A2 games to cast. We had some yesterday. We're doing a bunch of them today, and tomorrow is an all A2 stream with that table.
A2 Tenpai Tuesday, of course. It's Twitter official, and it's here on the graphic. We got to mention it now.
Well, maybe Tenpai for others. Knowing me, it'd be no 10 Tuesday. At least
Very
with my
true.
draws. Doesn't that feel that way for everyone?
Definitely felt that way for me on Sunday when my game was cast there. Just a lot of hands, and yeah, sure, I made some pretty costly mistakes, but just a lot of hands making it to Rian Shanten and just going nowhere after that. So. But again, I didn't post good numbers, but it's still early on, so.
Yeah, you shouldn't be that worried about it. Neither should anyone at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's don't look in the past. That's done. You can only look and see, okay, so how do I control my destiny here forward?
Absolutely. Taking a look at, we ask a lot of the players to fill out some info about themselves. It's all optional, of course, but it's interesting to see how people first get into this game. Farkhan, Vince here, got into it through Yakuza 4. I think a lot of people first caught on to this game from that franchise. It's been in every one of them so far. Other people like Tucker, first catching on to it from Saki. That's another popular one. That's same for Lancia as well. Lancia. Sorry, I keep switching between that pronunciation tonight. um, Lancia, is that what you've been saying?
Yeah, I know Alexia. I don't think it's obvious necessarily either way.
Of course. Lucy, the name we have listed there. So, yeah, a lot of
Well, we're in the awkward position that it says it starts at 02 after the hour and it's 03, so. His clock wrong, my clock is wrong, or we have a stream freeze. You never know which one it is. There it is.
There you go.
Boom.
It's that commentator's blessing. Oh, an
Yeah.
early pawn called.
Well, look
Getting
at these
right in the
hands. They're
races
really
here.
nice hand to begin with for dealer with a Dora. Pretty good pin fu shape. Pair's already locked in. Off on the right, we have a nice Alonco of one mon. And probably just a Ricci only. The pin shape's pretty obnoxious to deal with the 1, 2, 4, 6, but that 4 pin will help a little bit. Across the way, we have what looks like a distant Daisangen, but probably just the Hanitsu. We'll see if you can add more value over there. And off on the left,
Hung.
pretty standard Tanyao type shape, especially after that call.
Ooh,
But the
very
two-door
fun.
is very tempting.
And drops the Hatsu, so probably the dreams of Daisangen are going away there. Definitely
you
making
will
it
have.
towards Honitsu.
Well, you can always go for the Shosangen depending on what pairs up, but now you have the 2, 3, and 5, 6. So those are probably pretty much fixed.
Each.
Absolutely. Oh, and Ricci
Oh,
already
okay.
called. Wow.
Well, that's an awkward shape. It is a 1 so Tonki for Ricci only, but you would have 2 aura indicators.
Probably looking to go for the shock of just calling it on that fourth draw there.
Well, you also have, of course, the 3 2-sos out and the 4-so con. So there aren't too many people that could really use it. And I figure, especially if it comes off from the left, it's going to be discarded.
And that can also trick
Boom.
people into thinking, oh, well, it can't be an open weight featuring the 1, 2, 3. So maybe now 1 would look more palatable, perhaps.
Hung.
Oh, we might see another con. We do. Oh, and the 2-so. If you would have taken the 2-so Tonki, that would have been Ricci Sumo Rinshan. But now we have a complete Kabe of the 2-so. The 1-so looks really safe to everyone now.
And you just got to start thinking about what's lying under those Uradoras here.
Ooh, and Ennui's getting closer, but we have another Tenpai. We have 2 more Tenpai now.
Oh my gosh.
Dealer's waiting on the 3-6 Mon, and off on the left, we're waiting on the 2-3 Mon. Ooh, ooh, what do you do with that 4? Just goes ahead and throws it. Oh, but there's the 7 across the way for Toy Toy Chun Haku. And thinking long and hard about this because it is Dora. Instead, takes the 6 Mon Kanchan. There are only 2 left, and of course, 1 is discarded. So there's only 1 left. But we're wondering, where are the 1-so? If anyone draws it, it gets thrown at this point.
Yeah, they're all just not showing up. That's interesting. 5 and the 7 still being waited on as well. The 7s are. Looks like the 7 is in the dealer's hand. Again, hanging on to that. I think he's seeing something. She's seeing something.
There we go. Shuts it down with the Ricci Sumo. A lot of foo here. It's 2 aura, so it doesn't matter. With that 1-so being the aura, so that's how you take care of it. You don't have to calculate the foo when it works out like that, and we move on to East 2.
Taking an early Mongon, definitely striking some domination here early on, and picking up the Easts immediately as dealer.
Nice little double Yakuhai and shifting for the very clear Honitsu for a pretty fast dealer Mongon, but needs a couple more draws put together yet. Off of the right, we have pretty standard shapes, couple extra honors. 1, 3, 5, 7 in So doesn't feel that good, but other than that, you're okay. Across the way, a possible Itsu in So, maybe even Chinitsu, but Pro won't have time. It's just something what dealer's picking up. Off on the left, we have a pretty standard Hanya shape, maybe a Peiko, maybe even Rion Peiko with a 6-pin and an 8 So.
Wow, and just look at the dealer now. This is exactly what Ryan needed to get some more momentum after that last game. Looking at a respectable Honitsu.
Ooh, that is Tenpai, I believe. Yeah, that's
Riichi.
Tenpai for
Yep, and here we
Riichi,
go.
and then it'll either be Tanya or it'll either be Peiko or Doro, along with the guaranteed Danyao.
8 or the 5.
Yeah,
Both of
8 or
which
5
are,
So.
and the 5s are finding places in the hands, but the 8s are, well, there's one 8 out there, but 3 of them still in the wall.
I think Farcon may just fold a little bit here, but across the way, we're starting to see that Chinitsu developing.
Hatsu dropping there. I think that's a pretty good safe tile at this point. Yep, and drops it.
Uh-oh. May come out here if pushing. Nah,
Pushes the
Farcon
7
playing
instead.
safely says,
yeah.
okay, I've had enough of this. Maybe if I back into it later, but it just doesn't look good now.
Yeah, and with those 2 tunes, it's just not the quite... Oh, dealer seems to be backing off a little bit too, picking up dropping the 9 mon there.
Dealer saying my shapes don't really help keeping the 9 mon around, so
That's true too.
especially with having come out from across the way. Now definitely looks to be folding.
Yeah.
That 6 So seemed to have scared Ryan off here.
I'm thinking, hey, maybe if the tune comes out, maybe I can pick something up later, but that's unlikely to happen with them both being pairs in 2 people's hands right now.
That's always a problem with those late Yakuai pairs.
Gee.
There's a very good chance someone else has it. But here we have
taking a
an
jump on
Ishan 10. Let's see, is that Ishan 10? I'm not quite sure what the pair would be.
Well, keeping a 9 so not called as a con.
It is technically Ishan 10 because you could call the 8 So and wait on 5 So Tonki.
That's true. But they'd have to drop one of the 5 so's for that, wouldn't they?
No, someone else would need to. It'd be a
okay.
4, 5, 5, 6 shape, which is ugly, but it would be Tenpai.
Long.
Oh, there's the 8 mon and
In the
Roan.
meantime, backs into just the double tone Tenpai and deals in.
Still, that's some great defensive work there, and still making a win out of it. You can't ask for much better than that.
Yeah, you'll take that. Shut down the Riichi, and Ryan looks at this hand and says, maybe there's a Honitsu here. Lots of value, some pairs, a couple. Okay, now you're definitely thinking Honitsu. Yeah, seems to be selling out. Off on the right, we have maybe Itsu in pin, possible Chanta. Across the way, we have pretty standard shapes. Not quite Pinfu, really looks pretty slow. And off on the left, we have a Pei call, a Forso call, a Hatsu call, and going all out for the Honitsu. Would love to add Doi to it.
I was wondering if I should jump in there, because that hand was developing very quickly with those calls. But there's unfortunately not a lot going on. You have 4 very different tiles left over.
Well, yes, and that 3-pin doesn't go anywhere. But of course, okay, now it's gone. Of course, if you'd drawn something like the 2-pin or even the Dora, you go, maybe I want to include Dora because they already have 2 Yakuhai being shown.
And picks up the Dora.
Yeah, but now you can't do anything with
exactly.
it. You just look at it, you throw it down in disgust.
Yeah. The wall giveth, and the wall taketh. Sometimes the wall giveth when you're not ready to taketh.
Well, dealer's in awkward position. Wants to go for Hanitsu, but the shapes aren't really coming together. Kind of throws the 7 mon and says, maybe we'll go for a Chitoi down the road, but for now, not quite sure. Ooh, okay, now Onko.
Hello.
We are looking towards Suonko at this point.
Suunk, yeah. And I was just remarking with a few of the other league members the other day, we've had so many Suanko Tenpai in this league so far. Just the first week. So, I mean, at this rate, one of them's bound to go through. They might be looking at that 8-so and thinking, well, maybe not.
Gives up the dream, says, okay, it's Chitoy or nothing. Probably just afraid to throw that one. So looking at that pond off the left from Lanxia.
That is true.
Ooh, interesting. Throwing the 9-so and keeping the Haku. You have to figure someone's hoarding Haku at this point. And Ryan's given an option to go back to the Suanko path and says, nope, I'm done here.
Does pick up the 9 again after dropping it, but I don't think he's going to drop any more Sozu with.
Well, has backed into a nice little Ishan 10 here. Would need a 2-so and a 9 or 6-so.
Keeps letting
Calling
the
would
So's
be
pass.
Tenpai.
There it is,
Yeah,
though.
this is Chanta only, but will not throw the tune.
No tunes on the board yet. There's just that
Well,
pair
I just
once
did. It
again.
looks like you could very easily deal into Hanemon off to the left.
Yes. There's a 3-mon. Easy drop there.
Farcon's backed into a really nice little Ishan 10 who love to pick up the Itsu Dora.
And a cross. Cross looking like putting some pairs together. Not a whole lot left. Not yet.
Cross just looks like that's a fold. Oh, here we go. Tenpai. This would actually be Furi 10 on the 4-7 pin.
14 tiles left, though, and the chances your tile is in there.
And you see so many of them from that vantage point. We see 3 4-pin being discarded and 3 7-pin being discarded. And of course, there's one in the hands. You know, there is at best one in the wall.
Dealer calling the 1-2-3 so. Definitely looking at. It's kind of interesting. Now he's embracing the so's as well.
Well, is just trying to figure out any path forward here. And Lanxia specifically says, yuck. Well, that's the problem with this Haku. You have 3 hands that are just shut down by it. And after all that, Farcon says, okay, you guys are going to sit there. I'll take my little bluff Riichi and scare all you guys off. I don't get scared of that Honitsu. And picks up the 3,000 from no 10 payments as a result.
Good way to profit off of getting dealership moving again.
And look at this hand. We have 4 pairs, possible Chitoitsu, maybe a standard hand. Would really like to draw maybe the 4-pin. Off on the right, we have pretty standard Tanyao shapes. Probably not Pinfu, but there are plenty of options forward. Okay, now it's a beautiful shape in Mon with the 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as Ishan 10. Across the way, we have, I believe the technical term for that is garbage. Off on the left, we have possible 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. Other than that, Tanya, maybe at Adora, maybe to Peiku in Mon. But as mentioned, the big shape is off on the right. That is a gigantic weight. Looking for what? 3, 5, 6, 8, 9?
Or 9, yeah. 5-sided weight. Pretty much locking off the latter half of the Manzu there. And there's the 3, though.
Yeah, but it
really
fits into this
locking up
hand
the whole
quite nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually go for the Sanshoku as dealer.
There's
now you have a path forward.
The 8 was just drawn. That's also going to fit well in Lancia's hand.
Ooh, okay. Ryan could have been a little more aggressive and pushed the 7, but it doesn't matter. We have Riichi Sumodora off on the right. And Nora, but does pick up the 2,600 from the middle. And Ennui's back over 30,000 into the second.
Wow, swooping in with a quick one with a huge weight there.
Oh, you'll see that 5-sided weight, you start drooling.
Yeah.
And we have Dealer with a nice little Onko of the South Winds. an awkward shape to integrate the Dora with the 6, 7, 9 mon, where 9 mon is Dora, but shapes are pretty good. Off on the right, we have a Call of the Tone, and not much else. Shapes aren't quite there. You have 3 Kanchans, but with the call, you can take anything that comes in. Across the way, you have pretty standard Pinfu shape, and off on the left, we have pretty standard Pinfu shape. You'd love to draw like this 7-so and get that so shape together. If not, maybe distant Itsu. There's a possibility for 2, 3, 4 Sanjuku, but I'm not really buying.
Things are
Okay,
coming
just
together for
draw
the dealer.
Dora.
Oh,
Just draw Dora. That at least gives you some options, but the shapes themselves are pretty bad. Dealer, now
dealer
Ishan.
picking up the yes. Gonna drop the 3 possibly.
Gee.
Yep, there we go.
You have 2 options for the Payco, but you'd also really like to pull that Dora in.
Yeah, hanging on to it there with that the 6-7, of course, gives you a better weight, but you would want to get the Dora involved in there with the 7, 8, 9.
Across the way, we have a headless Ishanten, would also love the Dora.
Hanging on to it still.
Oh, okay. That is not Tenpai, but gets rid of the Dora now, figuring the shapes are fine. And we have a Tenpai off on the right for tone only. Goes ahead and throws the 5 pin. Does set a Suji weight on the 8 pin. And dealer is Tenpai, Yurichi on the south, and you have a 2-sided weight for Richi Pinfu, and the 8 pin is Ipeiko.
And only 1-5 showing on the board right now. Only the other 5's in the hand, and then none of the 8s, except for the one he's got, is
yeah, we have 5 in the wall. You're feeling really good about that shape.
There's the 5. Probably gonna hang on to it, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, I'd throw the 9-so probably here. You could also throw the 8 mon, but it feels a little more dangerous. Instead, just says forget this and fold. Oh, and now would be Tenpai, but it doesn't matter because dealer draws the 5 pin, the cheap end for Richi Sumo Pinfu. No aura, but 1,300 all, and Ennui closes the gap. Now it's in 2,000 first place in East 4 dash. I look at these hands. We have dealer with possible 6, 7, 8 Sanjuku, maybe Tanya. Off on the right, we have Yuck. I'm not quite sure what to make with that one, but have fun. Off across the way, we have very nice Pinfu type shape. Would really like to draw the 7 mon to pull it together. Off on the left, we have a pair of the North Wind and awkward shape in mon, but if you draw the 5 or 8 mon, it'd really come together nice with the 4, 6, 7, 7. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking dealer has not necessarily a free hand compared to all the others, but across the way is pretty good, but definitely the advantage a lot of value.
That's right. At the very least, a Tanyao possible, but a whole lot more is out there. The possibilities for this hand.
Well, that 2 mon off on the right gives at least some Chanta paths now. Really would like to draw a 1 pin and make this a 1, 2, 3 Sanjuku. I could go from there.
And would like to pick up the Haku, I'd imagine.
Of course, having discarded the 1 pin earlier, it's going to be very hard to get this into anything. Probably just going for something connected to the Dora and the Haku card. Okay, well, that fills that shape up nicely. You're feeling a lot better about this hand now because you completed the 1, 1, 2 and the 3, 5. But in the meantime, we're seeing a cross. Yeah, that's getting really beautiful. But it's not the first attempt by it. We have a Richi Dora with Takame Sanjuku on the 6-so, which may come out right here. It does. Richi Sanjuku Dora.
Slam dunk.
No, or it is 8,300 and Richi stick back. Now with that, Farcon's back over 30,000 and takes over second place.
Moving into the south round now. Lancia's dealer and has some work to do here.
I really like this hand. Possible Hanitsu, maybe Itsu. Lots of value there. Great shapes in pin. Off on the right, we have probably Itsu in Mon. Maybe maybe a distant Hanitsu, but I think you're just going for straightforward hand there. Across the way, we have really nice shape in pin. Decent shape in So. Possible Itsu there as well, but really looking for the fastest hand for Pinfu. Maybe even Itsu in So. Off on the left, we have a pair of the North Winds, and a nice shape that would accept Dora. Calls the North Wind, and it's now Ishan 10, waiting on the 3 Mon, and we'll need the 4 or 7 pin.
Picks up the Hatsus there.
Yes, Alexia is now Ishan 10, will want the 4 Mon and either the 3 or 6 pin, or could go super greedy and go for the Honitsu.
Do you go for speed or do you go for points? That's always the question as dealer. Oh, but
when you're given good weight Tenpai, you say forget this, and will be Tenpai on Hatsudora, waiting for a 3-6 pin, and we see there are 5 left.
And yeah, don't forget the 3 in the wall. That's showing as the door indicator.
Yep. Ooh, now we have a Tenpai off on the left. It will just be pay only, but looking for the 5 So. And at first, you're fine just passing the dealer around. Oh, that's a nice little Tenpai for Itsu. You can... Okay, decides to dumb on Itsu Dora waiting on 3 So. It doesn't matter. Dealer still goes to 3 pin and gets $1,000.
That's good. Planning... couldn't have planned that any better. Maybe for some more points, but again, you're going to stay as dealer now.
You'll take it, especially when you're 4th place as dealer. It gets another really nice starting hand. Nice little Itsu shape, maybe a pin flip if you connect something in pin. That's definitely look like Itsu. That's a beautiful Ishan 10. Off the right, we have pretty standard Pinfu shapes. Again, that's really fast Richi Pinfu Dora. Across the way, that's another pretty fast hand. It's just not quite as fast as the rest of these. You have a complete... Oh, there we go with dealer Richi. Richi Pinfu Dora waiting on 6-9 Mon. And off on the left, you say, I kind of like this hand a turn ago, but now there's dealer Richi. I hate it, even with my 2 Dora.
That definitely changes the complexion of a hand very quickly when it comes out that quickly.
Yes, and there are 4 left. We can see 3 6 Mon, and oh, there it is. The 9 Mon comes out. Direct hit for Richi Pinfu Dora. No aura, but will put Lanxia back over 30,000 and into 2nd place.
Wow. Coming from behind right now to come back and show why she's in 1st in the pool right now.
Well, when you have hands like that, you're just thinking, what am I going to do against it if you're not the Richi person? And that's what happened. You end up pushing those terminal tiles and eventually get punished. Look at this hand dealer has. Maybe Tanyo hand, maybe Hanitsu hand, lots of options here. Even a Chinitsu hand. Off on the right, we have very standard Pinfu shapes. That is Ishunten for Ryanri Ramen, for Richi Pinfu Dora 2. Across the way, we have possible Itsu in Mon, and 2 Dora as well. So, again, you're not really worried about the shape so much as getting to Tenpai. And off the left, nice little Tanya shape. That 6 Mon being around will be a problem because we see all the 5 Mon out. And you'll want to keep that 6 Mon as late as possible. It may end up being a problem later on in the hand.
Absolutely. And the dealer here picking up some good progress. The Manzu coming together there, looking for the 2 to finish that one off. Also seeing... Oh, the 8 there, that's not going to help.
But, oh, there we go, off on the right. Richi, Pinfu, Dora 2, and a possible Itsu on the 4 pin. Waiting on 4-7. We see 3-7 pin, and all the 4 pin are left in the wall. This could be huge for Ryan.
Wow. That'd be a definite way to really strike back.
And there's one of them.
I'm going to drop it, add it to the 3-4-5 rather. Could also be.
Yeah, let's little Ishan 10. Lots of ways to get that together. When you have 2 Dora, you're much more willing to progress because you figure it's very unlikely the person I'm fighting against has 2 Dora. But that's the case here. And that's Tenpai. Probably Richi on the 8 pin for Richi Dora 2, waiting on the 6 Mon, which we can see is dead. As I said, that 6 Mon off on the left is something that's kind of holding the hand back. You're probably just folding at this point, especially against 2 Richis.
That's normally what the experts say to do, just start to fold. Unless you're absolutely Tenpai yourself.
Well, the other problem here is what's safe? You don't necessarily know here. Every one of those tiles looks kind of scary in its own way.
Dropping to 5, picking up the 3. 3 pin, rather. There's
Oh,
the
there's
4.
another one of those 4
It
pins,
doesn't
so
fit in
we're
this
down
hand.
to 2. Yeah, I think you're pushing there. Just looking for those last 2 4-pin are. Really not much to say here. We just need the wall to tell the story.
Right, when you've got the people who are in it for the final tile and the people who are just ready to let it
Sumo.
pass.
There it
And
is!
there's
Riki,
Sumo.
Sumo, Pinfu, Itsu, Dora 2, Hanemon. Do you hit the aura? Oh, Baimon!
Oh my
And
gosh.
just like that, Ryan storms into a huge first place, over 45,000. And just like that, Lanxie, who had come back and was starting to build forward, is now kicked all the way down to 22,400.
Wow, and now Ryan, this is his game now. And he's has nothing but opportunities to lengthen that lead should he choose to.
Well, this hand probably isn't the one that does it, but you have a pretty decent shape if you can draw something connected to that 5-pin. Off on the right, we have a Hatsu pair, and probably not much value, but you could go fast if you wanted. The problem is you're in 4th, and it's a pretty bad 4th, but you could push for 3rd. Question is how fast you want to be. Across the way, we have probable Pinfu type shape. Would really like the 8-so for Ichi Pinfu, and on the left, we have standard Pinfu type shapes. Would love the 7-so to put together in the hand or the 7-pin.
Interesting to see how Ryan makes it with this. He's looking like a sorry, he's got options here. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, he's saying, I want the most value. Riding high in that last hand says, I want the 4-5-6 Sanshuku. Going for the Tanya Sanshuku here. Doesn't even keep the penchant. Says, no, we want value. Forget the rest of it. I think I would have kept the 8-9, though, because you still have the possibility to pull in the 4-5. And okay, well, we have Tenpai for that Ricci Pinfu, as mentioned earlier, for the 4-7. We see 2 7-pins discarded and 1 4-pin in the hand off to the right. So there are 5 outs.
Looking good there, especially with 30 tiles left in the wall.
And you'd like more value, but you'll absolutely take it here. Not to mention shutting it down, just like that Ricci Sumo Pinfu.
Very respectable 3-Han
Does
hand.
get the aura, so that at least puts you within striking range with the aura Dora, and you have 2 hands to make it, and a nice little Honitsu hand, especially with that draw. But we'll go around the table as normal. Dealer has a pretty standard Pinfu type hand, maybe a Chanta, but probably not. Off on the right, we have a nice little Honitsu hand with that Hatu pair and beautiful shape in pin. Across the way, we have a nice little fill-in with that 5-so draw. Would really like an Ipeiko Sanshuku hand. We'll see if it comes together. It's probably going to be that Haku, because off on the left, we see the Haku Dora pair. And calling aggressively says, I want Mongon from this. 44,000 isn't enough for me, and I like it.
And not to mention being in the lead, it's in your best interest to just keep this thing speeding along, and why not pick up more points on the way?
Well, and there's the other thing to consider, which is once you call the Dora, everyone's immediately scared of you. And if everyone folds and you just get the 3,000, that's a perfectly good result for Wow, and these shapes keep coming together. Now Ishan 10, but wouldn't have a Yaku yet. We'll need a pair somewhere, because can't use the Haku as the pair.
Now looking for the Hats, like you said, the Hatsus. sitting there. They're not the Dora, but they could do something in that hand. Taking a
Well,
step
you see,
towards
everyone
Honitsu
just
on the Onui there.
yeah, everyone's just very leery of throwing this
Home.
Haku. It may come out right here though. Hatu's
No, it
called.
doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Waits on the Dora Tonki here.
Hmm. So now when that Hatsu does come out,
It's an
that's
immediate
it.
run, would be a
Yeah.
Mongon just right there. And as we see, Farcon, of course, has an incentive to push almost anything, but probably holds on to it as we're getting very late here. Unless you get that value, it's not good. May also end up with a Ricci on the Haku Dora as well. If you connect, say,
Yeet.
3-pin or 6-pin, that's the way to go. But in the meantime, Delay says, okay, I'm not afraid of the Haku. I think there's a pretty good chance every one of you is stuck on it. So I'll just Ricci here on the 3-pin, wait for Ricci only.
And he'd be right in this case. And the three pin though, looking rather locked up in the two hands we see it in, and the third one on the table already. I guess we're just looking for the last one on the wall. 20
Ryan
tiles to go.
folds pretty aggressively there, says, I don't want anything to do with this against that dealer Ricci. The 5 Mon basically shuts out most of the ways for this hand to progress, but may be able to back into it in a bit. Oh, and there's the 3-pin. Holds on to it. We see Farcon also folding. So I think we have a showdown between Ennui and Farcon, and there are no 3-pin left, and there are no Haku left.
Interesting. So it looks like it's going to go down to the wire, possibly a draw. Well, probably a draw, I would say, at this point.
Most
Unless
likely
that
a
3
draw.
shows
Ooh,
itself
question is,
somewhere
do you
else.
throw the 6? It actually looks pretty bad here. Shifts out. It says, with a 9 safe, let's not expose ourselves needlessly. And yeah, that's going to be it. Throws the 3-7. We have 2 players, Tenpai, as we have another South 3 round.
And
Ennui also closing the gap a bit there with Ryan.
it's interesting. This can still turn somewhere for them.
Of course, Ennui will be last either, but look at these hands. We have pretty standard pin food type shapes. A little slow, though, for dealer. Off on the right, we have possible 5, 6, 7, or 7, 8, 9 Sanchiku. The shapes are kind of disconnected. Maybe even call for Junchan. Across the way, we have possible 7, 8, 9 Sanchiku. Looks pretty straightforward looking at that hand. And off on the left, we have a Hatsu pair and Hatsu Anko.
Hatsu Anko.
Ooh, how greedy do you want to be? Are you selling out for the Honitsu? We'll see.
I mean, those Pinzu in his hand, the 2 and the 4 are the closest thing to something happening there, but easy to give up in this case.
Oh, okay. Says we're taking the option for the toy. Maybe the cheat toy. Keep some options open. I don't really think the 8-pin fits in that hand, though. That's what I would have thrown. Okay, well, that's why the 8-pin was kept around. The problem is I'm still not seeing much value from it.
Yeah, well, then again, you don't need a lot of value where you're at right now. He's probably thinking, oh, a con
Now
on those.
decides to throw it. Says, I don't want extra door out there. Forget this.
I don't want to give your opponents extra points. Or the chance of them, anyway.
Well, you definitely call that and probably cut the 2-4 pin. The problem's going to be filling in the 4 Mon or the 6 Mon. So you're going to have to call that from someone else. And if we look at the rest of these hands, it'd feel a lot better than it would look at your own hand. Because no one, aside from Farcon, aside from Lanxia, can use it.
But speaking of Farcon, some good development happening here. Got 2 pairs and Anko on that 5, so.
Would really like to call that last tone would be Tenpai. But speaking of Tenpai, we now have Toy Hatsu. So a deal in would be that. The deal in would be 52. I'd have to do some math to figure out if Sumo is more than that.
By the time you do that math, it can all be over. Especially with this Ricci here from Ennui.
Ooh, beautiful hand with the Ricci pin food. It's about there it is. There's the Sumo.
What I tell
Toy
you?
Toy Hatsu is just the 5200, but pulls in the middle and jumps up over 50,000.
Wow. All I could say, wow. Moving on to the South 4 round. And looking very nice position there.
Dealer has reasonably fast hand. You have this Daisungen Dream, but probably not. Everything's a bit disconnected. You have too many honors here, but maybe a Honitsu now. Ooh, okay, goes for the Toy type shapes. Off the right, we have pretty standard pin food. Really like to pull in the 5-pin or 7-pin across the way. We have, well, the shapes don't really come together, but it could be Richidora, and honestly, Ryan doesn't need a hand, so he's fine with that. Off on the left, we have standard Pinfu shapes, maybe a 5, 6, 7 Sonchiku on the way. And in the meantime, on we calls the first Hawk.
Yeah, looking like still a good opportunity at Toy here. Possibly even, I was gonna say Sanshoku Hoto. But
Yoko, yeah, would be
Hoto, you're
really
right. Yeah.
nice, but ooh, I'm not sure what Ryan's doing. You really need the 8-mon here. Oh, okay. Well, now Ennui's hand's much more obvious. Nice little pair up of the tone there. But Ryan's actually Ishan 10 would need the 8-mon and then either the 2 or 5 pin. But I think the fastest hand, of course, is the dealer, followed by
Wrapping 'em up.
Farcon off on the left.
Hatsu's just been discarded, so good time to throw that one out if you so choose.
Well, I actually was sitting here and going, I'm seeing a bunch of calls and a really weird early
There's another
discard.
one.
So maybe that East is more dangerous than it feels. And of
And
course,
it
we
definitely
know if
is
it's
now.
thrown, it'll deal in for Mongon.
Wow. With yeah, Mongon there, you're right. Ones or the Easts, getting dangerous now.
Yeah, the ones would not be the Mongon, but you have a lot of food there. But of course, the East is Yakuhai for dealer.
Either one would put him in good striking distance of the lead.
I think you have to call this if you're Farcon.
But
Decides not to. Thinks needs a little more value here. The problem is that hand's really slow for turn 10.
But it's the last hand. It's pretty much all or nothing, so you kind of got to hold back. And there's 34
Draws
tiles left. You
that
still
one
got
mon
time.
and says nope.
I think we'll be seeing it sitting there for quite a while.
Well, you're seeing Toy, and after a 2-mon call and the 1-mon didn't immediately come out for everyone, it feels really suspicious.
Right. Hang on to the white dragon there.
Well, that one you know is safe, but I don't mind holding on for a few turns, especially having cut the 9-pin last time. You know it's safe this turn. You don't necessarily know if it's going to be safe next turn.
Good way.
But anyway, we're waiting on that last 1-mon or that East to come out from the right.
Still in there somewhere. Oh.
Okay, and Farcon side had enough.
And there's the sumo.
Changed the draw order, and Enui manages to sumo it, and hits the extra foo for 3,200 all, and we're really close for first now.
1,700 points to the lead.
Starts with 3 pairs and some awkward shapes. May end up going Toy again. Off on the right, we have pretty standard shapes, maybe Pinfu, maybe Yakuai pairs up. Across the way, we have a nice Lonko of one so, but really the shapes feel like Chanta. Off on the left, we have very standard Pinfu type shapes, but you may end up just cutting the 6-pin and going for Ichi only. For now, I think you just cut the Yakuhai and see how the hand develops, but I'm not seeing any good ways to get value off for Farcon.
Maybe, I mean, there's the possibility of a con, perhaps, to flip some Dora over. A concealed con would let you look at the Ura
Con,
Dora
of course,
as
is
well.
effectively going to be some, not necessarily a full Han by itself, because when you talk your terminal, but it would be plenty of foo and some more options. Ooh, interesting choice with the 9 pin. Do you sell out for the Itsu? Because that's the only way I see value here. Besides, to throw it back, we'll be throwing the 1 pin pretty soon as well. In the meantime,
Ennui
dealer's
picking
hand
up
is
a.
starting to form, but still
Nice.
needs probably something else to connect to that 7, so and let's going cheat. Oh, and with
Gonna
the
hang
early
on
2
to.
pin discard, that 3 pin doesn't do much good.
Hang on to it though. Something might happen.
We have an Ishan 10 off on the left for what would be Richinomi. We'll need the 2-5 pin or the 4-7. So, and Ennui says,
Things look
okay,
bad.
well, maybe we can go Chanta and make something out of this. In the
Con.
meantime, we have really nice
There's that
Ishans
con.
across the. As you said, there's the con. Of course, that gives you another Orador possibility. Does not hit the Condor, which is 6 months.
That does make Lanxia's hand a little bit more
Lychee.
value, as she
But
calls
we have
Leech.
a Ricci on a 3-sided weight for Ricci Pin Fudora, and if winning on anything other than the 9, so Tanyao, but it is a 3-6-9 weight. That is a very good hand to have right now.
I wonder what they're thinking as far as what's safe here to play against that. Anything could be waiting underneath those Uradoras.
I think the 2 so is obviously safe here, but pushing the 1 Mon for now.
Home.
Calling the pawn on
And
the 9
Ennui
Mons.
says, I don't really fear you. I don't have much to lose. Ooh, awkward shape now. And okay, well,
Ooh.
now Chanta waiting on the 8, so there is only 1 left in the wall, though.
23 tiles in said wall.
Interesting. Ryan could call for Tenpai, waiting on 6 mon for Itsu, but it would be Furitan. Uh-oh.
What do you do
And
here?
Parkon, okay, says that
Drop the
feels pretty
3.
scary. Throws the 3 and probably the 4 pretty soon, because, of course, it just came out as well.
Good opportunity to play defense while still building a hand there.
And the 6
Oh, the
mon does not
6.
heal in because it is Furitan. Oh, okay. Now we're going to see a
Yeet.
Ricci, most likely, waiting on the 5 so, 9 so.
Dum.
But in the meantime, the 3 so
Whoa.
heals in. Ricci, Pinfu, Tanya, Dora. Of course, we have 2 Aura chances. Doesn't get them, but does get Mongon. And Lanxia locks up second place, limits the damage. And we have Ryan with a big win at 31.9, Ennui with 11.9 in second, Lanxia in third with minus 10.7, and Farkon in fourth with minus 33.1.
And Ryan taking right back into positive territory there. It's probably exactly what he wanted, especially after that not the best game 3, we'll just say.
Well, hey, you'll take it. 1 first, 1 second, 1 third, 1 fourth, and in the positive. But the big leader coming out of this is Lush with 2 wins and 2 third places and leads the group after the 4 games are completed. Of course, we have plenty more action in this division, and we'll be going over to another set of games in A2, probably in 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, but definitely, I don't know if you could ask for better results here with Luce in her first session here. I mean, this is definitely going to set you up nicely, and yeah, anything can happen as we head through this league. Like we keep saying, it's only the first one, so you want to definitely hit that follow button to see what happens as we get underway.
Now, are we going to take a look at see if there are any other games up? If not, we'll take a 20-minute break and pick up when the next A2 matches start.
Don't go anywhere.
Hey, I'd say jump in. We do have another match. I believe this is from B2. Of course, it could just be Tenno baiting us and the game's over. No, we got in just in time. It is South 4. We
Oh
see a
wow.
Tenpai across the way for Ricci, Ipeco, Tanya waiting on 3-pin, and there are 3 left in the wall. Off on the right, we have the makings of a nice little
Home.
toy Honitsu.
Oh, but Pone's
And
called and
speaking
dealer's
of
intent.
boats,
Oh, that's not the
yeah,
dealer. Never
Don't.
mind.
and it comes out, and that
Ooh.
will limit the damage. But Tanya, Dora 3.
Wow.
And with that, we have Nehelem
Minimizes third
dropping
place
into a deep
damage.
second, but Slim Diz has a huge win there with 40.4. Nehelem, as mentioned, 21 points. NTWRS minus 15.4, and B4K4 at minus 46.
Wow. Now I'm curious, how did we get to that point?
Well, I guess we could pull up the log because we still have probably 20.
Checking that out.
Okay, let's see what the hands were. Well, it looks interesting. Well, anytime I see a 12,000 roan, that jumps out at me.
Wow.
Let's see.
Looking at
Ooh,
that
these are
hand.
some nice
Ooh.
starting hands
T.
for everyone.
Opening the walls here. Those green
T.
tiles are, I believe, what the dealer is essentially on schedule to draw.
Flying. Yes, of course, this is a completed log, and that is a beautiful
Beach.
shape there for dealer. Oh my
And a
goodness.
Ricci immediately.
Oh wow, Ricci, Pinfu, Tanya, Dora, possible Sanshoku. Oh, I think I see what happens. It comes out from across.
Oh
Don't.
yeah. And there it is.
Right there. Ricci, Pinfu, Tanya, Dora. Does deal in on the cheap end, but when the cheap end is 12,000, that's not much of a consolation.
It's D-Sun. I guess these are anonymized names.
Yeah, because we're just looking at a log. And of course, we did see the big game at the very end. So I think that's about it. It looks pretty standard. Of course, we have the logs publicly available on the website if you want to see the whole thing. So I think we'll take a break. This is Corak with Blane, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes.
Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Blane Singletary here, along with Corak, and we're getting ready to start this next match here in the A2 division of the ARML on this Tenpai Tuesday.
We look at these players, and everyone is already in the Tokujo room, which is Fordon R1800 plus, and you see that everyone here has played a lot of Tenho, and I recognize most of these names. Q is Aldwin, Butterfly, who is Gina. Across the way, we have Tech Bro, who is Minko, and off on the left, we have Mister, who is Anthony. And we had a couple people here that were really close to making it to A1, and you just couldn't get in the playoffs or had really rough sessions to end the inaugural Beta League season.
As you said, and as we were talking about during the break off the mic here, we got some veteran presences here. Q alone has been in this game for about 15 years, you were saying.
Yeah, he's been around forever. He is I don't know if we're going to say godfather, but certainly the person that's done a lot of organizing. He is very dedicated. He's been around, I say, just forever.
Mm. And again, I always say this when I see people with these high ratings in Tenno. Those are hard to get, and even harder to maintain.
No, yes, that's just it. It's one thing to beat up on people in the early rooms. It's another to stay even with people in the higher rooms. And of course, we see this in some of the ARML leagues, where the question is, can you keep up with people in A2 or A1?
Mm. And taking a look at just how well they've done in just the first two games this season, Ming Ko is now second place after Luce's big victory we were just looking at before, 33.2 there. Gina and Anthony neck and neck right now, less than a point apart. And there's the gong, and we begin this game now.
And Q has a very nice pin food type hand, probably accepting Dora 3, so feel pretty good about that. Would really like the 2 pin to fill out. Off on the right, we have a bunch of Kanchans, a Ryokan in So. You're okay with that. It's not like the best hand, but you can make quite a bit from it, especially if you can connect them to that 6 pin. Across the way, we have an Onko of the South Wind, but really looking for a 4-5-6 Sanchaku. So, of course, what happened? You immediately draw the 3 pin for that shape. Off on the left, we have a possible 1-2-3 or 2-3-4 Sanchaku, but probably just a pin fu and try to connect to that door.
The dealer's hand is progressing nicely here with some, especially with that 6-0. See what he does with that.
Yeah, you have a lot of options. You do have a bunch of pairs now, keeping the Chitoitsu option open, but if it ends up in a normal hand, you're going to get stuck needing either the 1 pin or the 9. Off on the left, that 4-mon draw is really nice. Gives the option of a Tanya shift, and that's a taken. Also could have gone for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a completed run and a 4-5 extra. But really, the hands are going pretty straightforward. The 3-mon's drawn across the way, so we now have a perfect Ishant and Headless for potentially reaching Pin Fudor.
And explain for our audience what you mean by headless exactly.
Headless means you don't have your pair established yet. So obviously, you could draw the 2-5 so, but you could also draw another Dora, make that your pair, and reach the 4 so, where your Onko of South doesn't necessarily mean anything. If, of course, you draw the 9 pin, you reach on the South, and you're allowed to keep the 2-5 with.
Probably like to pick up the Dora. Oh.
Hugh goes ahead and cuts the 1 pin, doesn't like that Champone, and this is the problem with cutting that 3 pin earlier. You could have kept a better shape cutting the 9 so, but instead you have a little bit more flexibility. The hand just a little slower as a result.
Well,
Ooh, great draw there.
That.
You have a nice little Ishan 10. Won't get the Sanchaku without a shift, but Richie Pinfu and possible Dora would be perfectly fine as dealer. Oh no! And there's that 9 so we're waiting on. Still have possible Richie only, or of course, there are so many tiles that get this hand to Tenpai.
And there's so many tiles left in the wall. A lot of possibilities out there.
You'd
Oh,
really
wow.
like to hit the 6, 7, 8
Reach.
Sun Scoop, but you'll take that
There's
for
it
the
is.
Ricci pin fu. Waiting on the 5, 8 pin. Of course, there's all the 8 pin and 2 of the 5 pins. So the weight isn't that great, but you'll take it because off to the left, Mister's kind of shut down having this floating Dora. What do you do with that?
What do you
Reach.
do with that?
Oh,
But here
here's
comes
the
the
No.
8
other.
pin.
Oh,
Deals in. Treads the Ricci, of course, with the 2 Dora. That's what you have to take, but ends up dealing into dealer for Ricci pin fu, and Q gets the Ricci stake back. We move on to East 1-1. And look at this hand. We have possible 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, but really the shapes aren't that good. You really need to start filling in those Kanchans. Off on the right, we have maybe an Ipeco in Mon, but again, a lot of Kanchans to fill in. Across the way, we have a little bit better, but that's mainly because it's a Ryoncon instead of just Kanchans. You do have that North pair, which you're not sure if you want to cut and go Tanya, but plenty of options. Off on the left, we have probable Itsu in Mon. You're looking for something else to add value, and maybe something with a 3, 4, 5, but nothing in So probably is going for the Itsu. Now you have the 5 Mon. You can also go Ipeco.
Options here for that. Looking at the dealer, looks like they've got, well, good shapes heading up with the Manzu there. It's developing nicely. Got some little left to work on with Zozu, though.
Yeah, if you could draw the 6-0, you fill it in. Do a lot here. The problem is you have bad weight with the 1-2 and bad weight with the 5-7, and now you have a door just float around. Of course, if you draw the 2 or the 3, you can always go Sanshoku, and I think that's why it's being kept around.
Now, that could be worth a lot of points if he gets that.
Yes, that 9 Mach definitely indicates the option for Sanshoku is being heavily considered.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other
Good
side,
pair.
we see across the way, forget the door. I don't want that.
I do just fine without it. Again, still early on in the game, so any
Gee.
hand that could win could make some waves here still.
Yes, and just like that, calls the
Pong.
7 pin and gets rid of that Ryoncon shape. And now we have a pawn of the 4 so off to the right. That is not quite Tenpai.
Pong.
Now it's Tenpai after the 2 so is called. You have 2 options here and takes the 3-sided weight, but 1 Mon cannot win because there is no Yaku. We'll also be waiting on the 4 Mon or 7 Mon, which would.
1 Mon right now, pretty much locked up in these hands, but there's one left in the walls.
Great
We'll
draw
see.
across the way,
Oh.
drawing the 5 Mon, not having to deal the 4, and instead now Tenpai waiting on 3,
There's
6.
the 1. Can't call it.
And 4E10 for now, but of course now that you've passed
Khan.
your draw, you're not worried. Oh, Khan on the 3 so. Draws the 9 minutes to do anything. The new Dora is Hatsu, which is completely irrelevant to this hand. We have 3 discarded.
That is going to add some power to... Sorry, there is no reach. Never mind.
Yeah, off on the left, we're getting very close to Tenpai, but not quite there yet.
While the dealer, just about in the same place we left him, but...
Yeah, those did fill in the Penchon with a 3 pin, but you still have that extra 1, so you're a little scared of throwing, and you have that Kanchan 5-8 so.
It's always a little scary when you hang on to something for potential value, but then that potential value starts to turn against you later on in the hand.
I think it's Ricci here anyway. The issue will be the 6 so is probably being used up reasonably
No.
well. Oh no!
Oh,
Instead,
no.
breaks the Tenpai, goes for a little more value, but that 7 Mon deals in.
I mean, he probably saw the Sozu forming up over on the left, and sorry, on the right, and thought, you know, don't want to deal into a possible Dora Pone.
Yeah, as dealer though, you should be a little more aggressive with that. I just hit the button, but then again, I'm Corak. I always just hit the button.
That's right. The
And
only
look
times
at
you
this.
don't call Ricci is when your hand's
Already open. Yeah, here you go. Dealer has a nice little Tanyo type hand. You have Dora too. Of course, you'd love to pull an Iyako. I probably would have called that 8 so, but is rewarded with a 2-pin draw, and that completes that shape. Off on the right, we have a nice little pair of North, a pair of Haku, maybe a Honitsu in Mon. maybe a Cheetoy or Toy Toy, lots of options. Across the way, we have a pair of North, a pair of Tuso, a pair of 6-pin, and throws the 1-mon. Not quite sure what direction you're going to go with that hand. It's one of those where the draws will tell you. And that East draw definitely says, okay, we're either going Toy Toy or Cheetoy. Off on the left, a beautiful hand. I believe that is Ishanten now, but not much value unless you cut the 1-3.
Speaking of not quite knowing where to go just yet, having one of each dragon, that's always an interesting dilemma to me. Which one do you want to hang on to, or do you want to start dropping them now? Because right now they're dead weight, but one of them could turn into something like that tune that just got drawn.
We have a Cheetoy Ishanten across the way, but generally the textbook rule is discard the Hatsu for the exceptionally rare case that someone could work their way into Ryuiso or the all green Yakuman. But when you actually look at the
Good
stats
point.
of higher rooms, what happens is people have factored this in, and as a result, the other two work out better because everyone assumes that you got rid of it for that reason.
Good way to think about it. Let's see, having the...
That is
That's a
Tenpai
good
off on the
draw.
left.
Riichi.
Yes,
Yeah, it takes
Riichi is
the
called.
Tenpai. Riichi Tanya waiting for the
Home.
4-mon, and one is drawn immediately, but it fits very nicely into Butterfly's hand there. The Haku is thrown by dealer and called off on the right by Tech Bro. And the
Home.
4-mon is completely dead. And Tech Bro just says, okay, I'll take care of this hand then.
No chance of drawing it, and it's already pretty well locked up unless
Speaking of the
something crazy
pawn,
happens.
very tempting for Mister. Goes ahead and calls it and throws the 3-mon back. Now Ishanten for Toy Toy and possible Toy.
Not seeing, doesn't see a lot of the one-zos out yet. They're in the hands. Looks like locked up pretty well in the dealer's hand, Butterfly's hand there. Tech Bro could probably drop it though.
Well, the other
That
part
wouldn't be
of
home.
going a little more aggressively like that is the 4-mon will not come out under any circumstances now.
That's right. So effectively reaching at nothing, unfortunately. But weird things have
Interesting
happened.
option here. Mister can either push and wait for the last stone to come out.
Come.
But okay, we have a con off
Steel
on the
con.
left. Would
This
still
one-
just be the Ricci Tanyao, but possible extra Uradora.
And was probably hoping to get that 4-mon out of the Rinshan.
And in the meantime, Mister takes Tenpai, but it doesn't have a Yaku. Could have thrown the Tuso and waited on the Tone Forso Tenpai, where the East would qualify as a Yaku. Can call this for Tenpai as well, for Toy Toy.
Decides not to. There's the ones that was coming out in response to the other one.
I think this is just a little too defensive for Mister. And of course, now we see the East being drawn by dealer and doesn't know what to do with it. Says, okay, maybe we'll go Chew Toy, but we're probably giving up on this hand.
It looks like most people are folding at this point to Q. With only 10 pieces left and not good prospects to complete your own hand, might as well just play it safe.
Now we have another option for Mister. You can also throw the 4 here.
Okay.
And that is no Yaku on the 5. It is actually a 2-5 East weight. The East is the only Yaku unless we end up with a Haite or Hote.
But either way, probably looking at just a way to get Tenpai here on the last few pieces so you can pick up a decent amount of points.
Yeah, but that 7-mon is terrifying on this board. I'm not surprised by the fold there.
Kang.
Oh, could con. Oh, and now you end up saying, well, it didn't do any good. The 5 still come out. And after all that, Q picks up the 3,000 from everyone else being noted.
And becomes dealer now.
Tech Bro is dealer with pretty nice shapes. Of course, you have extra honors you have to get rid of, but the shapes look pretty good. Off on the right, we have possible 5, 6, 7 Sanjuku, maybe Tanya with that 5 Pandora. Off across from us, we have nice little shape in Mon, but really need the 7 pin to fill in that pin shape. Off on the left, we have possible Chanta type hand. Chitoi seems a little bit distant. It's one of those hands where you're just not quite sure where it's going to go when you start with it. Though that 8-so really helps. And now it just looks like a much more standard hand. The problem is the 3 pairs. So what do you end up cutting next? Probably the 5-mon, I guess?
Possibly.
In the
It's looking a
meantime,
little
dealer
close.
says, I don't need to worry about this. I have a door. I can call a tune, and I'm already Ishanten.
Dealer's got a good thing going on with the the Pinzu there. Picking up a 3-mon, that's gonna just make things progress even more.
Yeah, you also have the option if you draw the 7-so for a choice as to which weight you've gone. Ooh, interesting draw with a 4-mon. I think you cut the 6-8-so. Because you also had the Peiko possibilities. You may end up using
That's what
Chun
he's
as your
gonna
pick.
do. No Chun's out yet either, so he's probably thinking that's a very easy possibility at this point.
Beat.
Oh,
Ooh,
picks up
okay,
the
you'll take
4, and
that
there's reach.
for sure. And importantly here, of course, if it's drawn, if self-drawn, this will also be Sananko. So this is Richi, Dora, possible Sananko, possible Chun.
Happens there. Yeah, no, Dora as well. You mentioned that already.
And I think we have a pursuit here off on the left. Instead,
Oh,
Dom
yeah.
and would have been
Oh.
rewarded. Oh no,
Yeet.
this is why you Richi. It's a positive EV play there to reach, even pursuing, and now is completely stuck. And
Not gonna
oh,
drop that red.
magic. Off on the right, we have Ricci, Pin, Fudora waiting on 4-7-so. There are a bunch left in the wall because we only see 2-7-so and now 2-4-so.
Oh, picks up the 3.
There's
Hang
just
on to it.
one Chun left for Tech Bro to win this hand. The odds are heavily in Mister's favor. Yeah, Butterfly is now just basically folding. Oh, I feel so bad on that one.
It's a choice.
Oh,
you make.
there's the
Oh, there it
Chun.
is, though.
Ricci, Chun, Doran will be extra foo. So even without her, it's 96. And there it is, 9,600. And jumps out into first place like that. And look at this hand, and that's a very nice little hand for dealer, too. Ricci, Pin, Fu. If you draw the other Dora, Dora 2, maybe Nepeko and Pin. Off on the right, we have Nice Shape in Mon, Nice Shape in So. And really need to get a 4th and 5th shape, and then a hand will look good. But what you have looks nice together. Across the way, we have a nice little shape in Pin, but that's about all. And off on the left, we have possible 4, 5, 6 Sanchuku and a Dora. Of course, if you can pair up that Dora, you can call the 3rd because that is your Yaku.
A double Yakuhai. Oh, just drops the East. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about the dealer. Dropping the East for that chance at a double Yakuhai there. Probably because it was already dropped across.
Beat.
Well, this is why, because you're already
Oh,
Tenpai,
yeah.
Ricci, Pinfu, and possibly Peiko on the 2-pin.
2 or 5. 5 still, well, it just got tighter in Butterfly's hand. But the rest are nowhere to be found.
6 in the wall. You're feeling great. And there it is.
There it is.
Kumo, Peiko, Pinfu.
Almost out of that.
Get any aura? No aura, but still 2,600 all plus the Homba and almost to 50,000 if we're only in East 3.
Wow.
And then starts the next hand with a Dora and a double Yakuai pair.
Yeah, already getting a very dominating lead here.
Off the right, Mister is deciding whether you want to call the non-wind. I think I would. The question is, you want to go for the Hanitsu? Yeah, just throw the 1-pin and see if your draws let you go a little more greedy. Across the way, we have a standard Pinfu type shape, maybe an Itsu in Pin. And off on the left, we have that Chun Onko. But other than that, not much that's connected.
That's always an interesting quandary whenever you get the chance to pwn turn 1 on a wind like that before you've really gotten to come to grips with what hand you've been dealt. So I think that, like you said, that is a good decision to make there, but maybe not going for a Honitsu now that some Sozu and Pinzu shapes are beginning to form up.
Yeah, you're beautiful Ryan Miriam and Ishanten, and now Tenpai.
Oh.
And you're not thrilled with the 1900 point win, but you'll take it, figuring you probably weren't getting anything else out of this. And of course, if you saw a dealer had a double Yakuai pair and a door, you'd be fine shutting it down now.
Riichi.
Over on the left, here's Ricci.
And there is that possible Itsu. Ricci Pinfu only on the 7-pin, but if the 4-pin is drawn or dealt in, Ricci Pin. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, the con. This is a disaster. You cannot throw that. I think you just throw the 7-mon.
Oh, but he does.
Throws it anyway. Ricci Pinfu Itsu Dora. 1 aura for Hanemon, and just like that, Mister is near 0. And Q's back over 40,000 and within striking range of first.
Though we should remind people who are clicking over here from the Mahjong Soul tab on Twitch, this game does not end when a player goes below 0.
Yes, this is a tournament-type rule set, so there is no mercy rule. I mean, look at these hands. Dealer is already Ishanten for Chitoitsu Tanyao. Off on the right, we have some really nice shapes in Pin and So. Really want that 7-mon to finish off the Mon. Across the way, we have, well, in the meantime, we have a Dealer Ricci waiting on the 8-pin. And there's one of them. Anyway, going across the table, across the way, we have possible Ipeco, but probably folding, and off on the left, maybe a 4-5-6 or 5-6-7 Sanshoku. The question is, who's going to push against this Dealer Ricci, because you don't know anything about it. One of the interesting things about an early 7-pin Ricci like this is you may end up seeing all 4-7, and the 8-pin would look really safe.
True.
But Tenpai, we have a Tenpai here, and doesn't take it. Could have taken the Ricci for the 3-pin or the 5-pin weight, but doesn't want to go head-to-head against an early Dealer Ricci. For Ricci only, bad.
And I mean, when you see an opportunity like that, you almost have to go for it, even if it's a 1-pair weight right there. Of course, a lot of it's still in the wall, plenty of possibilities, but it's going to change the way everybody else approaches this hand. And there's one of them, but it's going to feel pretty good in his hand.
I believe the thinking here is now you have enough information, you can play around it a bit. Of course, we see all of the 4-pins.
This stage, yes.
Ooh, interesting. We now have a Tenpai across the way, and oh no, could have reached. And instead, just sumos for the sumo only. The same problem.
I believe that's your thesis at work there.
Actually, I don't really mind that Dama as much because 2 of the 7-pin were already out. So there were at best 2 on the wall. I don't mind the Dama as much, but we've seen a lot of these hands where if you just hit the button, you'll often get rewarded. And we move into South 1. Dealer has nice little Tanyao shapes, maybe Pinfu as well. Off on the right, we have an East pair, which is no longer a round wind. Possible 6-7-8 Sanshoku. Across the way, we have an awkward 1-3-3-5, so maybe a Junchan type hand. Off on the left, we have a North pair, which is Mister's Wind. And okay, that 5-mon really helps that hand. Now you can just call and go reasonably fast, but that was kind of the choke point for that hand.
And again, can still call Ricci since we don't have the point limit rule in effect. In other rules, you wouldn't be able to call Ricci in this situation since it's a 1,000-point bet, but he'll be able to. He'll just drop below 0 by 100 points.
We don't have Toby or busting on, so you can go as far down as necessary, and obviously you hope not, but you want to fight back when you can.
Right, it's another chance, ultimately.
We're seeing these hands, and a lot of them aren't really developing. Dealer is no Ishanten, but guaranteed a bad weight, and off on the left, the 5-6-7 Sanshoku is getting kind of there, but not yet.
Butterfly's hand looks the closest to me right now, with a good sequence and good onkos as well. A couple of open weights too, just to see how that happens. The 2, though, that could go anywhere.
I just cut the 9-mon and probably go Tanya, just start calling.
Why would you really drop the Dora, though, when you still have not a great chance, but a good chance to turn that into something, though?
Your alternative, of course, is cutting the east pair, but I kind of like just getting rid of the Dora and saying this isn't going anywhere.
Fair enough. Speaking of the Dora, definitely doesn't have a place in the dealer's hand, but we'll see.
Comes out the next turn anyway.
Ah, there we go.
But dealer honestly wants to go to the Dora Tonki here. Would love to call the south, get rid of that 6-8 or 3-5.
Give it something nice, Yaku.
Interesting. Mister passes on the north wind, looking for a little bit more value. I don't know that you necessarily have time, and your shapes are pretty terrible.
We were seeing in the comms here, the Mister tends to play with the calls turned off, which means he's not seeing the calls pop up on his screen like you normally would. It's a way to play, I guess, if you're looking to go for closed hands with maybe some bigger value. South gets called.
Well, you can, but he still has a 34.5% call rate, so it's not like he doesn't call.
That's true. But it's something he's seeing in his hand that's maybe thinking, I can go for some more points if this was concealed.
Okay, now you can start thinking about it a little bit more. I think you cut the 3-pin here, because that's not going anywhere with
Yes.
the rest of these hands, rest of these shapes.
Hmm.
Okay, and just like that, Q will move to Ishanten,
Come.
better Ishanten. Oh, interesting with a two-pin con. I'm not sure what that does for the hand though, because it still just feels really slow. I don't like giving extra Dora yet.
Interesting. So, well, that does give 2 Dora over to Mizder.
And that's just it. Mister can just start calling
Yeah.
4-pin or 7-pin, especially cut your north pair. You're not worried about it.
Mm-hmm. That can either be a North Yaku High, or you drop that and go for Tanyao.
Interesting situation for Q here.
Oh.
The 8-so is the most efficient cut. The problem is you may end up 4-10 with that 4-so discard earlier. Oh, now you take it win a Dorataki. That's a great tile to come out.
Chi.
That's what he
He
does.
was
He does
stepping on the
actually a
gas here.
Hellweight Tonki, which we know is not coming out here. But in the meantime, across the way, we're now Ishanten for Ipake. Oh, I just thrown the 1 mon there. We're Ishanten for Junchan Ipeko Dora. Oh no! That would have been it. Oh no.
Chi.
So sad that it just contradicts you right when you make a decision about that kind of stuff.
Chi.
Sometimes.
Well, now we have Tenpai off on the left for Tanya Dora 2, waiting on the 6-mon or the 5-pin Dora.
Interesting to see how they'll react to this one. There's
And
the 5-pin
Tenpai off on
drawn.
the right, so that is Tanya Dora with the extra foo from the con, waiting on the 4-7.
I was about to say, well, now this hand's wrapping up, so looks like they're looking to just squeak in underneath here.
You're fine
Before
with
the door
that.
closes.
3
Yep.
players, Tenpai, and with that, Q is right up on Tech Bro.
Has another shot at dealer to
1400.
strike.
1,600 point split, and has a very good hand to start with. 2 completed shapes and a Dora with a Ryanman. Off on the right, we have possible Chinitsu in So, and I think you just go for it. Across the way, we have pretty standard Pinfu shapes, but a couple extra honors you're going to have to get rid of. And off on the left, we have pretty standard Pinfu type shapes, but an Itsu in So looks pretty good. Also, a possible 1, 2, 3 Sunshoku. Nice June pair pull in across the way. And you're probably not getting any value, but especially with Q getting close, you kind of like to end the hand quickly.
That's right. Looks like Butterfly is maybe still keeping that open to go for a Honitsu of some sorts, but the wall seems to have other ideas right now.
Now that's the problem when you're 5 tiles away from Chinitsu Tenpai and your first 5 draws are like that.
Calls the Souths.
Ooh,
now Tenpai
Dora
on the
Tonki.
green.
Waiting on the Dora Tonki for Tone Dora 2. That's a pretty sneaky wait this early.
Only one Hatsu on the board right now.
Two on the
One or two
wall.
on the
Of course,
wall.
not likely to come out anytime soon because everyone would kind of like it. But I could certainly see Mister throwing it.
Meanwhile, that Honitsu is becoming a lot more of a possibility now. The last few draws have been Sozu.
Shanten off on the left for that Sanshoku would really love to be closed on it and Ricci. Ooh, that 5-pin's kind of awkward though.
Mm.
To just throw it back and say we're going Sanshoku, no matter what, done.
In the midst of all this, where's the Chun, I wonder? Or that's
well,
probably
there's
what,
one left in the wall, so well, you figure there's very likely a chance that the Honitsu has the Honitsu hand has it. Boy, that's a mouthful.
That's true.
Chi.
And we're going to see it come out pretty soon. Probably not this turn, but next turn.
Boom.
Okay,
There
it
it
does
is.
come out now.
And the poem.
And just Ishan 10, though. Remember, we'll need these. Oh, okay, there is the Tenpai for that 2-pin to make Rishi Sunshoku. And it is Suji Trap, so it very well could come out.
Mm.
This hand is so intense looking at everything here.
I had to think about dropping that Taku there, because, I mean, none of those are on the board except for the door indicator. And the same with this east. Well, there's a few easts out now, so that's a bit less.
Yeah, the easts are fine, but everyone's at that. It's so close and scary. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, it's going to come out.
Oh, there it is.
I don't see a way around it, and Q deals in for Ichi Sanjuku. No Dora, but Mr. gets the very badly needed 5,200.
That's some folding money there.
And we move on to South 2. Butterfly has a Dora, which is the South Wind, and a pair of Hatsu, and very good shapes otherwise. Off on the right, we have a very nice hand with 4, 5, 6 in Mon and 2, 3, 3, 4, 6 in Pin. Maybe a 4, 5, 6 Sanjuku, but it's going to call a little bit of effort. Across the way, we have decent shapes in So. Would really like to get the Peiko 7 So. And off on the left, we have Yuck. Maybe a Chanta, maybe even a Kokushi attempt, given the discard so far.
Looks like it. The Dora is south, and that's the round win. So those can be worth a lot of points for somebody. Yeah.
The people that really could use them are like, nope, we're good. And of course, the third one is locked in the Kokushi, so it's not coming out. Interesting cut here by Butterfly. Breaks the Hatsu pair. Probably also looking at the possible Kokushi or Honitsu off on the left and saying this may not come together.
Yeah, nothing but simples discarded. That's usually a good sign. As far as the prospects for Kokushi, already 2 of the Hatsus down.
Now, let's see. The big thing is the one So. The one So is already in the hand, even though there are 2 discarded. So you feel reasonably good. But the hand to watch is the one off on the right, which is perfect Ishanten.
Oh, yes, of course. And that's likely to swoop in before this Kokushi gets wings.
And you have a very good chance of a 4, 5, 6 Sanjuku. So you're getting plenty of value there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's the Hatsu.
Oh,
and a little bit of regret. But, okay, now we have dealer Tenpai waiting on the 3/6 Mon after this is called.
There we go.
And there's Tenpai, Ricci, Pinfu, and Dama's instead. The 4 So win is Pinfu Sanshoku, and the 7 So win is Pinfu only. But I think this 3 Mon may come out and deal into dealer. Dodges it this turn.
Not. Yeah, but it's still just hanging out there. Oh, there's the 4 So.
There it is. And because of the dodge, dealer draws the 4, so deals into the Dama Pinfu Sanshoku.
There we go. Takes a big lead and the dealership here. So Tech Bro's in a great position in this later part of the game.
Yeah, Butterfly loses her last dealer and is looking kind of rough to get back to the 30,000 for a positive score. But we look at this hand, have a pair of Shaw and decent shapes in Mon and So, but it really feels pretty slow. Maybe a Hanitsu shift later, but not much here. Off on the right, we have a really nice hand. And the question is, how do you integrate that Dora? Because you'd love to go for maybe Ricci Pin Fudora 2, but you have to do something with that two Mondora. Across the way, we have possible 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku, but you have a Ryoncon in pin, so it's not really looking good quite yet. And off on the left, we have pretty standard pin Fu Tanyao shapes, but really like something connected to that 6 pin.
But they do have something that works with the Dora, and so that's got something going for it. That's pretty well locked up in the Manzu section of the hand. But
In
as
the
you said,
meantime, that Sanshoku across the way is starting to come together.
sure is. Yeah, I was looking for the 1, 2, 3s. You're saying, or
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and of course the 2 is Dora, and Mister can't really use it, so it may come out.
all that right there. Interesting situation with that.
What do you do here with that 8 mon draw? I think I kind of just want to throw it back.
Or throw the 2, and
There's
there
your
it is.
2.
But
I'm
not
mildly
taking it.
surprised Q didn't call that because the way he's been setting this hand up, that seemed like the perfect play. Getting a little too greedy with 3 really bad shapes left in the hand, that at least lets you get rid of one of them.
Question for Q is, where do you go from here then? If unless you're really wanting to keep it concealed and chance on the other 2 coming up at some point.
It just seems like it's a stretch, though. You're gonna have to draw it yourself, and you're gonna have to draw the 3 pin or the 8 pin. Even
1
the 6 pin would be okay, but see now you're behind everything. You have the Ricci,
With
and so you're
Ipeco.
probably just folding. This will be Ricci, Pinfu, Ipeco. Either way, will win on the 5, 8 pin, and we see 1 5 pin and 1 8 pin. So there's a ton
There's
in
an
the
8
wall.
right there.
And Dealer has to stop here and think, do I
Mm,
just want to throw it? And I don't think there's an
nope.
incentive to push, not with the current scores. Even if you have to pay out the extra amount for a Mongun Sumo, you still have a huge lead going at all last.
It's got a lot of safe tiles he can push without it, or not push, but you know what I mean, defend with it. That one that she's just dropped, not looking like that's doing anything around here.
Well, I think it just pretty much play defense at this
Sumo.
point. So, yeah. Oh, there it
Might be able
is.
to
There's
use it.
Sumo. Ricci, Sumo, Pinfu, Ipeco. You hit the 2 aura. No, just 1 aura, but it is that Mongun Sumo. Puts Mr. back in a decent play. Still in 4th, but
Wow.
within striking range now, and will have final deal.
Striking range of 3rd for sure. Very realistically take that at the very least.
Has a pretty good starting hand, some completed shapes, an extra Dora as well. If you draw the 2 pin, you have everything coming together. Off on the right, we have a Hatsu pair and pretty good shapes as well. That's not quite Yishanten, but it's very close. Across the way, we have, well, a bunch of stuff in pin, so I think you're going for the Honitsu. You may just go for a closed Tenpai, if you're not getting any value that way. Off on the left, we have a call probably for Tanya. I'm not seeing the toy, so that West pair is probably getting discarded. But the first hand, as mentioned, to finish was Q's that looked pretty close. It is Shampone waiting on the 4-pin Hatsu. It is Ricci only with the possibility of Hatsu.
And that Hatsu wait in this early in the hand is very dangerous.
Yes, if you draw it, you're usually going to throw it anyway. The question is, how many safe tile does everyone have? When you look at Dealer, and Dealer is like, I don't know what to do it. And when
But
you're in that
getting
situation,
pretty close for an Ipeco, though.
Yeah, you
Ooh,
are
double
very
Ipeco.
close to Rion Peiko, which would be wonderful. And in the meantime, off on the left with Tech Bro, now Ishanten for Tenpai. Wait, not quite Ishanten. It's a 3-5-6-6. That was a 3-4-5.
Yeah, but those 5s are locked up in Butterfly's hand right now.
And Tech Bro just seems to be pushing, figuring a Mongun Sumo would actually take over first place. Now we know that would
Good.
require a Hatsu and an Aura or two Aura on the Sumo, but Tech Bro doesn't know that.
Right. Looks like he's going away from the Rion Peiko, the dealer is. Probably just trying to. It looks like going to more defense at this point.
I
Oh.
feel bad. Yeah, now you'd be feeling great about that shape. Oh,
Hmm.
that's disappointing. Still looking for what your pair is going to be, but you have plenty of options here. And of course, you get to
Yeah.
Tenpai, you'll take it for sure.
2 or the 5 could make a nice pair and leave a sequence to go. But look at this. One so. That could also do some stuff.
So back, it doesn't really do anything for this hand. I guess the
Well,
idea
you
here
use
is
it,
you can
though.
take the 1, 2, 4, 5
Chi.
for a good shape Tenpai there. And that's actually Tenpai as
Hmm.
well. You can reach you on the 8-pin or the
Teach.
6-pin. 6-pin would add Pinfu, but the 8-pin looks very safe. Interesting
Indeed.
which weight is chosen. Takes the greedier weight and it passes,
Interesting.
waiting for the 3-so, 6-so for Ricci, Pinfu, Dora.
Looking for a hand to not just win quickly, but win with a lot of points.
Well, when you're in fourth, you definitely have that incentive to push, and especially as dealer here, you'd love to get a big sumo.
Sumo.
But instead, Q
But
draws the cheap end for Ricci Sumo. We'll need 2 Dora to overtake first. Doesn't. We'll have a pretty strong second. And Mr. unfortunately is stuck in last. Tech Bro with a plus 30.4, Q with 14.9, Butterfly with minus 13.7, and Mr. with minus 31.6.
you see the updated standings now for the pool, and Ming Ko, Tech Bro, is now taking a commanding lead. We'll see if they hold on to it there into this next hand, which should be starting rather soon.
Well, when you get 2 firsts and a second, you should be doing pretty well.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Gina there is in 11th place there with 11 negative points. But Q is getting some traction as well, moving up to 14th against Anthony's 15th. Again, this could still go any way in this hand. It looks like we'll be starting here in about 4 minutes. So, Arthur, what's your big takeaway from that game?
Well, what's my big takeaway from any game? Ricci more.
Of course, and
We
we
can
still
go over it, but really, you look at these players, and they all have very solid skills. They're all Tokujo room level players, so they've played a lot. And what you
Mhm.
saw were some different styles. Q getting a little aggressive, a little greedy at times, but hitting some of those sumos. Just couldn't get the last one for the extra value.
Mm,
And
yeah,
Tech Pro just ended up running over the table.
yeah. We'll see if that domination continues here. Uh, Definitely setting themselves up for a great first session. No matter how this next one goes, still very respectable 63.6 going into this.
Yeah, you figure even if you get a fourth place, you're looking at probably plus 30, maybe plus 40, and you're perfectly happy with that after 4 games. And of course, there's the possibility to put a complete stranglehold on this group with another top 2 finish.
Absolutely.
But we still have a few minutes here, so I will go on a break and see you when the game starts.
Grab some water, grab a stretch, and we'll see you soon.
And this is Corak. The game should be starting any second. Of course, as we see from the standings, Ming huge lead, but everyone else is still trying to get over to that positive score. And we start off in East 1, and Butterfly has nice shapes in Pin. Of course, a pair of North Winds, maybe a Honitsu, maybe a Toyo, probably just a normal hand. Off on the right, we have a a bunch of Kanchans, 1-3 in Mon, 8-6 in Pin, and 2-4 in So. Across the way, we have a nice little Pinfu shape. Probably 5-6-7 Sanjuku would be nice. 7-8-9 Sanjuku is possible. On the left, we have a whole bunch of 2s, maybe even Sanjuku Doko possible now.
And I'm back too, Small Man here. And we're seeing some Manzu forming up quite a lot in Q's hand now. Looks like that's what they're going to be going for here in this opening hand. You could see Butterfly grabbing a Con of the Sevens, not calling it yet though, because it could have some synergy there with that 5-zo as well.
5-so or the 9-so, and plus even the rest of the shapes are pretty bad with the 1-2-4-5. Without the 3, that's pretty ugly. Now you could think about the Con, but goes ahead and throws the 1 Mon. The reason I would consider conning there, especially as dealer, is you want the extra draw here. Your shapes are starting to look pretty fixed.
Absolutely. Oh, but there's the 5, which I believe the player across is Tenpai right now. We can't exactly see the hand with the view right now, but we're getting that fixed.
Technical difficulty that's being worked on behind the scenes. But in the meantime, I look at that hand on the left and I go, Sanjuku Doko. Ooh. And working that way, now Ishan 10 for it. Of course, we have the Tanyao as well. I think after this hand, we're going to need to refresh the stream.
Well, we can see what they're waiting on now, or at least
it's actually an Ishan 10. We'll need something to pair up, and the 5-7 Mon as well.
There.
Oh, that's an easy call. Okay. Oh, I'm disappointed. I would have liked the 2-so, 5-so Shampoo, where 2-so gives Sanjuku Doko. I'm disappointed. Takes the cheap, wider weight for the 3-6-so.
Well, we have you calling Ricci.
Okay, throw the 5 now. Throw the 5. Do it. Oh, you're sitting in the Suji trap. I'm so sad.
Oh, no.
Could also call this, cut the 4, and wait on Gimbutsu 8-pin. The problem is there just aren't that many 8-pin left.
Interesting. Another call from Tech Bro there to go to Tenpai only on that pair.
Butterfly is now Tenpai on the 6-so Kanchan.
Interesting.
So 6-so a deal into 2 people here, but everyone looks pretty cheap, except potentially the Ricci, which has 2 Dora.
Still hanging on to those 4 7-sos.
I think this is one where no one's folding. There isn't really a reason to, almost no matter what you draw. So the wall will tell the tale.
Good old-fashioned slugfest.
There's the 3-so. Now, con, you could avoid this deal, and otherwise... and there is the con. Bold play. And there's the 3-so. It deals in. And of course, because the Condor, it's now a 2,000-point hand. I think we're getting a stream refresh. We had some issues.
Yes. Looks like we were in the other view there, the /3.
Sorry, the UI has a lot of useful information, but if you're in the wrong window, it doesn't show up nicely.
Doesn't quite fit. But there we go.
All right, I'll go over the hands well. That's being adjusted. The dealer has a very nice Ishan 10. I believe that's... There's a Sanjuku in there, but you'd read a really lucky draw. The 4-mon itself would give you the possible Sanjuku. Across the way, we have a Tanyao type shape. Not sure you can really integrate the Dora, but if you can, it'll probably be Itsu. And off the left, we have a nice little Ishan 10 for Honitsu, calling the north and south winds. Would love to call the white dragon to be Tenpai on the 7 pin, and of course an 8 or 9 pin draw after that. And you can even add Toy to it.
Butterfly already looking nice with the Shun Anko there.
Chi.
Giving her
Stir,
against the
unfortunately,
Yaku.
has to call the 4 and is now Bakahon. But can call this Haku if it is thrown. And it's
We are
held
now
for
Ishan, sorry, Tenpai now over
yeah,
on Mr.'s
Tenpai
end.
for Bakahon or Hanitsu only. You really want more here. It's kind of amazing to not have anything when you're Hanitsu in the Dora suit, and yet here we are.
Looks like trading off the 9 to still be waiting on the 7, but
Home.
Well, I mean,
perhaps
I'm
that gives
calling
you
this
some
probably
ideas.
I'm getting
Oh,
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
waiting on the Tonki 6 pin. Of course, you can switch that to all sorts of sneaky ways like that. I'm
but the 6
definitely
is
switching this. I'm
also.
not even
Oh, sorry.
thinking about this.
Goes for it. Now the East is that weight, and there's only one on the board.
And everyone else has to get very scared here because you can tell it's going to be a guaranteed 5,200 point
Riichi.
hand. But if you have a hand like that with
Mm.
Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyao 3-sided, you're perfectly fine fighting that, especially as dealer.
Just going for it, laying it all on the table.
2, 5, 8 so weight, and there are a lot of them as you would expect.
Dropping the Chun there. Even though
I think this is just a face-off. There's no way you're getting around it. Neither of them's folding. The only thing that might change is if Mister draws the 1-pin Dora.
Look at how fast they're going through this too. They know exactly what they want.
Sumo,
And there's the
Ricci,
Sumo.
Sumo, Tanyao. Do we see the Aura? No Aura, but
Not
will be
here.
2,600 all. And Q jumps out into first place.
Way to go there. Still close game though. It's yet to be really cracked open.
Dealer has a nice little 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku type hand, probably Pinfu. Off on the right, we have pretty standard Pinfu hand. Might be able to add something extra, but I'm not seeing too much other than maybe a distant 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. Across the way, pretty standard Pinfu hand. It's honestly just looking like a Ricci only hand, but there are ways that can be improved, especially if you draw something in lower. So off on the left, we have a whole bunch of pairs in pin, a pair of 7 pins. So you can go Chitoi, you can go Toy Toy, you can go Chinitsu. And I think that 3 pin will push you a little more toward Chinitsu. I like the 4-mon cut.
I was gonna say Sanshoku on the left, but there's no Manzu there. Never mind. But still some good stuff going on. You've got great presence with the Pinzu, and that 789 will help you take this home.
Across the way, we are Tenpai, but it's a really bad shape. Decides not to keep it.
Yeah. You could do better. We're still pretty early on.
Yeah, turn 4, I like the cut. I probably would have thrown the 8 pin instead, but this is fine.
Dealer, meanwhile, making some progress there. Having a little stall in progress with the last 3 being Sumo Giri.
Now, dealer's hand is very close as well.
Yeah.
But everyone's kind of in that, just need that one big draw to pull it together.
It's all a matter of who gets that first. Think about what to do with
we have
this
a
Chumans
Chitoi
here.
Shun 10 off on the left.
That's true.
It'd be so sad to have Chitoi with a hand like that, but you do have the 2 door. And now a very wide Ishan 10. Good way, Ryanman off on the right.
7.
Dealer to perfect Ishan 10.
That's a good one. And wide open for that last tile to get the Tenpai.
Yeah, off on the right, we now have a headless Ishan 10, so lots of ways to turn that into Tenpai. That is not one of them.
Nope. There's still 30 tiles left in the
Well,
wall.
there's Tenpai on the
Oh,
left.
there we go.
Chitoitsu, Dora 2 with
Riichi.
Pei Tonki.
And Ricci for
Just
the
like
dealer
that,
as well.
just forget this. I'm pursuing for the Ricci only on the 4/7 mon weight. And we can see 3 of them on the table discarded and 3 more in hand. So it's actually 2 out Rionman versus a 3 out Tonki.
We were waiting for everybody. They were waiting for the last big tile to send him over the edge, and it happens to 2 people at once.
And that can happen because all it takes is that last tile. And sure enough. But the question is, where are the Norths? There should be at least one more have come out by now, but we're just waiting for them. We haven't seen a single other than the one that's in the hand.
And we're rounding the last corner of the wall here.
Only 3 more draws
tiles.
for each.
Are they all on the dead wall?
Well, you have to figure at least one is. The question is, are 2 or more?
Hmm. Seven tiles. Where is it?
And just one draw for each left. This is so brutal.
Wow. Probably thought your prospects were a whole lot better going into that reach than what you're getting out of it right now.
It's going to be both of them. Tenpai, no one wins the hand. All 3 Norths are dead walled. Oh, that just makes you sick. You're going to review the log and just start banging your head against your desk.
And now here come the North. Here are the Norths.
Yeah, that tends to be how it is. Dealer has a nice little Tanya hand here. Would love to add a Dora, especially with that 2/4 shape now. 3 manas Dora. Off on the right, we have standard Pinfu type shape, but a closed Onko of 2 so. Across the way, we have Chun and Tone pair, so you're probably calling for probably just the 2,000, but you take it. Maybe Honitsu shift later. And off on the left, we have probable Itsu, possibly some sort of Sanshoku with a 4/5/6. But the value seems to be Itsu and Pin.
Good, yeah, good Pinzu action there on the left, but there's enough going on.
The North that slams it down in disgust.
Yeah. Even if that's your seat win, just forget about it now. But across the way, got 2 pairs for Yakuhai.
Well, now you're thinking a lot more. You can add Honitsu or Toy Toy. There's a ton of value here all of a sudden.
All you need to give up is those 2 Force Sozu.
Ooh, now which shape do you take? This is very interesting. I think you got the 4-so.
Yeah, and go for Honitsu. A very high value Honitsu at that.
Well, it's mainly because the 4s would be very hard to use. Now, as we know, the 4 could come out any time from the left. And it very well looks like it could, because those shapes are starting to look pretty fixed, and that 4-so isn't connected to anything. Obviously, we assume the 1 will come out earlier, but this hand's looking dangerous. We can all see how this is developing. Oh, that is an amazing draw. It's a butterfly from a lot of trouble down the line.
Wow, yeah.
Oh no, and there's the 7, the backfire with a 6, 7, 8. Could be Tenpai on Chun and 3 Mandora. Oh no.
Well, you know, some nights the wall just hates everyone.
Well, it's certainly feeling that way. You just have to feel for them. When you go back into this log, you're just gonna shake your head and move on. You can't say anything other than yuck.
Yeah. But on the meantime, the dealer is getting close there with, I believe, Ishan 10. Oh, but there's Ricci over on the left.
Yes, that will be Ricci, Pinfu, Dora, and on the 6/9 so, where 6-so is Tanya as well.
Interesting setup there.
And yeah, Mr. says, okay, I've had enough. And either win, the 3 mon or the Chun will be Mungan. But
There's the 6-0.
6-0 is drawn first. Arichi, Sumo, Pinfu, Tanya, Dora. Any Aura would be Hanemon. Doesn't get it, but still pulls in 11,600.
Perfectly fine Mongon there. That's going to get them in the lead.
And we move on to East 3, and Dealer has a very nice Pinfu type hand. Maybe Peiko and Pin. Off on the right, we have a pretty standard Pinfu type shape as well, possibly Peiko in both Mon or in So, depending what's drawn. Across the way, we have maybe a Pinfu type shape, maybe a Chitoi type shape. Not quite sure how it's going to come together, which is another way of saying the hand looks pretty bad. Off on the left, we have a bunch of disconnected tiles as well. Another one of those where you draw a couple tiles, all of a sudden looks pretty good. What you're really looking for is to pair up that north wind, which is Dora, because you could call that.
I don't
And
know.
that's how it's done.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm keeping an eye on the cross hand there and butterfly there. I think there's something to happen there. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of tiles that are just way out of place, but that could turn the other way around rather quickly.
Well, you have the 1-3 in So, the 1-2 in Mom, the 997 in Pin. You don't have any completed shapes. Oh, but in the meantime, we have a Dora Yakuhai call from the left.
Beach.
The rest of the shapes aren't too good, but in the meantime, we have a Dealer Ricci for Ricci Tanyao Sanshoku waiting on Formon.
Wow, now that's some value right there.
And this is interesting because Q may be rewarded keeping the Formon pair.
I could see him easily dropping the 2 or the 5.
2 comes out pretty easily.
There's the 7. That's an easy drop.
Well, now it's a little more dangerous because that Formon is Nakasuji and could come out from anyone playing standard defense.
Oh,
just like that. Trust the Nakasuji and pays. Dealing into Dealer Mongon. Even with the Aura, it's 12,000 either way. And just gets savaged. Again, Q tries to play a little too defensively and gets punished.
And playing into a very dominant tech bro tonight.
And we're in East 3-1, and Dealer has a pretty standard Pinfu type hand possible. 789 Sunsku off on the right. We have fairly standard Pinfu hand. Really like to pull in that 5 pin or 7 mon to get it together. Across the way, we have Kokushi, question mark. I'm not really sure what else you could do with that. That's legitimately one of the worst hands I've ever seen. It's actually one tile away from a special Yakumon that is awarded. It is not in our rule set, but is an optional Yakumon for a starting hand with nothing connected.
Oh, that one.
It is called Shinsu Puta, which is very rarely used, but tells you the absolute garbage that starts off as. Meanwhile, off on the left, we have a call of the Tone and 1 pin, and already Ishanten, and now Tenpai waiting on the Pei Dora.
Pei Dora, though, already in this Kokushi hand.
Yes, we saw the Pei Dora not pay off a couple hands ago for Gina. We'll see if it works out for Aldwin.
It is Dora, so he might want to give it another chance. And again, it can be swapped for anything right now, being the pair weight that it is. Dealer, though, picking up 3 pin. That's going to get a step closer.
Yeah, gets a little greedy. Says, I like that Sanchiku last time. Why don't we try for it again? Decided to dump the Ryanman, taking the Ryankon, looking for a 3-4-5 Sanchiku, of course. If you draw the 6 mon, you're like, okay, I guess I'll take the Richi Pinfu. But if you draw the 6 or 9 so, you take the Sanchiku weight. Just like this. It's a 7 mon Richi. And again, you have that Nakasuji weight on the 4 mon. This is exactly what we just saw. This time doesn't have Kanyao, but it's almost the exact same situation.
Just waiting on that Formon. It is now, if they do commit to, I mean, they can't get the Kokushi now because they'd have to drop that Formon at some point, and that's the weight.
Interesting option here for Q. Says, okay, we're just pushing. And as we know, that is the correct issue, at least for now. And of course, the 7 mon is completely safe.
Oh, there's the 4.
And there's another 4. There's only 1 left in the wall. Again, it could come out if you're playing standard defense.
But that also could work pretty well in the hand for value. If he's still going for that.
Looks more like a fold, maybe a back
probably.
into a...
Oh,
Oh, it
there's the
is!
North!
And this one comes out for Tone, Dora 2, and of course you have all that extra foo from those Pones and the Yakuhai pair, so that boosts it to 5,200, and all of a sudden, there's a pretty tough fight for second place coming up.
North's redemption arc here, ladies and gentlemen.
And Dealer has some pairs, Adora, but really looks pretty slow, although that 6-pin helps a bit. Off on the right, we have possible Itsu in Mon, though that's more looking like a standard Tanyao. That is Ishan 10 already for Richi, Tanyao, Pinfu if you draw the 5-pin. Across the way, we have nice shapes everywhere and an extra door. You just need something to connect in Mon. And off on the left, we have decent shape in Mon, but looks pretty slow, especially when you have a 2, 4, 6, 8 in So.
Dealer hand developing a little bit here with the 9s and 7 So's. Not sure what we're going to do with that, but we'll see.
On the right, we do have Tenpai waiting on the 5-pin. But I think the idea here is even if you draw it, you take the 4-8-10 Richi to go for the Sanshoku.
There's the 6-pin. Putting that back.
I would have thrown the 3 mon there.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that early 1 mon discard makes Itsu very difficult. So I think that's why it wasn't thrown. Dealer's backing into Chitoi Ishan 10.
There we go. Easton Green sitting out there. There's the 5.
Cat went on it though, no Yaku. But in the meantime, we have Richi, Chitoitsu, Dora 2 waiting on Dora Tonki. Uh-oh.
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 And
it's thrown immediately. Dealer, Hanemon. We'll see if this turns into Baimon on Aura.
And it does.
24,000 deal in, and just like that, Mr. takes complete control of this game.
Yikes. It's only East 4. Which means you have plenty of chances to catch up, but that is going to be difficult to do.
That's a 48,000 point swing. You can feel that one. As we look at these hands, Dealer has probably Itsu in Mon, possible 1 through 3 Sanshoku. Off on the right, we have a pair of South, which are the Wind, the Sea Wind, and a Chundora. Across the way, we have a East Yakuhai pair, which could be called, and looking very close now. Maybe adding Ipeiko as well. Also have Chitoi options off on the left. We have a pretty standard shape. Ishan 10 currently, but needs to fill in some shapes.
The question in everyone's mind might be, hey, yeah, maybe... Oh, there's the tune, to answer the question I was just about to ask.
Well, I think Butterfly's thinking very strongly about, hey, why don't I do the same thing and go reach
there's another one.
Toy Dora 2, and I'm Ishan 10 for it now.
It's going to be a very nice hand. Perfect way to get back, for sure.
And it's interesting. I wonder what you wait on given those discards, because you look almost like Kokushi here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Granted, it's a very honor-heavy hand. Almost could go Chanta if you wanted, but...
yes, depending on the draws. In fact, I'm very tempted now to have the 6 so for sure. Maybe even going for the Honitsu with that discard. There are lots of ways to improve this hand.
There's like a more normal shape happening over on the left in Tech Bro's hand. You know, just trying to let off the gas a little bit after a rather giant move from Mr. just now.
Spicy Dealer Baimon will do that. That is actually Tenpai now, but do you really want it?
Just Tanyao.
No.
Gotta need to start Sorry. What were you
No,
saying?
I mean the hand on the right. It is
Oh, okay.
Riichi Dora 2. Of course, the South will give an extra Yaku, and the Chun will give a Yaku and, of course, another Dora. So it looks pretty good. And the interesting thing here is with the discard, now I think about it, you absolutely Riichi that. A Sumo also gives Sananko.
That's true. A lot of opportunities here for that, too.
Well, does the South really look that dangerous? Well, no. The problem is it's dead, so it doesn't matter if it looks dangerous.
But it's those Chuns that are definitely going to look dangerous now.
And
Anybody
they're both
draws
to
them,
the
they're
wall
probably
right
going to
now.
hang them.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
if
to
they
hold
get drawn, they're going to get held.
I don't see any. Oh, we could see a con here off on the
Con.
left.
And we
Does take the con. Has an option of which weight. Doesn't takes the official one. Waiting on that 4-7, which are both Genbutsu to the Riichi.
Two. The 8, the 9.
Still don't see the Chun. Where are they?
There's the 4.
All of a sudden, these 4s are starting to disappear. I think
It's locked up
Q's
in the hand.
suspicious, as he should be, that you see.
Oh,
saw
there's
some.
the Chun!
There's the first one.
Of course, not going to be dropped. But there's still one more,
Well,
and
the hand
nuts.
still looks like the Chi toy it always did. You can't really trust Suji here. And
There's
boy, the
4.
Forso is completely dead now. There are 2 7 so left, but that's it.
Looks like we're going to just play this to the draw.
Last draw, and that's safe. So we have 2 players, Tenpai and Butterfly is very sad. That could have been a monster hand, but didn't quite come together. And that's kind of been the story.
Exactly. But you do get a nice consolation prize, 1,500 points, and you get to have your next dealer turn right away.
As we move to the South 1, and dealer has nice little shape in pin, especially if you can draw the 3 pin, because you have the extra Dora, possible Itsu. Off on the right, we have pretty standard Pinfu shapes, but the thing that jumps out, of course, is the Hatsu pair, which will probably be called when it comes.
Home.
Other than that, not too much value. We do have 3 pin, 7 pin floaters for a potential 5 pin Dora. Across the way, 8 so is called. You have a Haku pair that also looks like just start call and end the hand as much as possible. All that Dora will certainly help fix the shapes. And on the left, we have pretty standard Pinfu type shapes. You really want the 3 so to fill in that 1, 2, 4, 5.
Very interesting start here for sure, especially on the dealer. I mean, it looks good, but there's a lot you'd have to cut to really make that work. Well, no, it's looking like that could go anywhere. That's all I'm going to say right now.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the right discard is if you draw like the 4.
Chi.
Well, calling the
Okay,
Chi
goes
on
for
1,
the
2, 3.
open Itsu here. I actually could be going for Junchan. I don't like it. I don't think that helps at all.
Well, if you start discarding Manzu now, you have a chance at a Chinitsu.
Yeah, and that may be the route this hand's going. But in the meantime, we have a
Well, we're
Tenpai across
Tenpai.
the way waiting for Haku 1 pin, where Haku is the only Yaku, but also a Dora.
Chi.
Okay, this is the sellout on the...
We're in Chinitsu mode now.
Yeah, this is sellout on the Chinitsu. Could have
Dora.
taken also Tenpai for Chanta, but looking for a lot more here.
As right now. Oh, perfect. Just what you... Not Tenpai yet, but definitely has the what you need for Chinitsu.
Of course, if you can call like the 4 pin, you throw the 1 pin and it doesn't actually deal in because there's no Yaku over there.
Absolutely. It's only the
But you
white
love
and
that
green.
upgrade. You're cutting the 2 pin for sure.
Drops the 1.
I guess you can do that. Really want to integrate the Dora into this hand. I can see that.
Go for all the points. Why not?
Well, this whole hand has been played very greedily. And the only thing that's bailed Butterfly out is that the Haku hasn't come out from anyone. And speaking of tiles that can't come out, Mr. draws the Dora in the Chinitsu suit and says, nope.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And is
everything-
rewarded immediately.
6 mon there.
Doesn't do anything. You're just throwing it at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of these hands play themselves. Now, this is the first decision point. And yeah, says that's enough of this. I'm not throwing 6-pin into that after we've seen overflow and pin. But gets right back into Tenpai just like that.
And
We still
Still-
haven't seen
still
the
can't.
Haku.
that's right. Still only waiting on the Haku. The 6 won't win because there's no Yaku. Yaku, in this case. Oh, but there it is.
The first one, and that isn't coming out. There is no way that
Oh.
comes out.
There's the
Ooh,
5
we have a
pin,
second
though.
Dora here.
Mm. And definitely slotting that right in, but that's still going to be tough to make Tenpai with.
Yeah, and if you would have cut the 2-pin earlier, you'd be Tenpai on 5-pin, 8-pin.
It's the East.
No,
So the other hand's just
you don't call that. Like, you could consider it if you're going to throw maybe the 3-4 mon, but that's such a stretch here.
Chi.
At this point, calling Chi. Oh, there's the other Haku,
Dong.
and it's
Nail in.
down.
And that'll just be the 2000 and the 600 with the Ricci stick, but shuts down the monster hand, which unfortunately still hadn't hit Tenpai yet.
Sadly, that'll also shut down the last dealer turn
And
there. For
Gina's
Butterfly.
in big trouble now, but could still get third because Q isn't that far ahead and now faces a dealer turn with a possible 1, 2, 3 Sanjiku, possible Yakuhai with the Haku pair. Off on the right, we have a non-double Yakuhai pair, maybe a 2, 3, 4 Sanchoku across the way. We have nice shape in pin, but other than that, really needs the 7 so to pull in, fill that penchant, and 8-pin now, and probably something connect to the one of the 2 mon floaters. And off on the left, we have pretty standard type shape, not quite a pinfu, but you do have a Dora, so you're not that worried about it. It is a Ryan Shanten, but you have pretty decent shapes, all things considered.
The Dora has some good flexibility in this hand here. All the hands, I mean. The hand in general, because you could see it finishing off that 2, 3, 4 over on Tech Bros' side. Dealer, meanwhile, drawing the 6. That's going to be some progress. Or not. Throwing the 5 back instead to make that your pair.
Yeah, locking the pair in, figuring something else will need to connect. The 5 shapes are probably locked in at this point, planning on calling the Haku. But in the meantime,
7.
and yeah, there's the backfire immediately.
Yeah.
That's always the problem. That's why you normally cut the 2-pin there and just kind of float and wait a bit. But decided the shapes were fixed and didn't want to be a little flexible. In the meantime, though, on the left, we have a Ryan Shanten for Dora 2, but everything's a Ryanman now. Oh, no, you have 2 Ryanmen and then the 2 mon 9 so pairs. Okay, now as I was saying,
yes.
they were you just have 2 Ryanmen to finish.
Right. And South's called by Tech Bro over there.
It is the double Yakuhai. Not Tenpai quite yet.
Sadly, with that 5, the 2, well, still has the option to switch to the 2, 3, 4 instead of the 3, 4, 5.
Mister does throw the Haku, will be called immediately by Q. And feels pretty good here. Now, Tech Bro could have called that and taken a Tonki wait for Tenpai.
The 8, and now draws the 6.
And you can't really
Nice
take the 6,
palm.
but Q says thanks. I'll take Tenpai for Haku Dora waiting on 1 Formon. And in the meantime, Tech Bro says, okay, I'll take your 1 Formon and deal it right into you.
Oh.
And
Not
with that, Haku Dora for 2 Han, but closes the gap. Q's getting close to that 30,000 point threshold. Now we move on to South 2-1. Whole bunch of pairs in this hand. Probably goes cheat toy. There's not too much else here.
So,
Off on the right, we see pretty standard shapes, but really need a 7-pin to fill it in. Honestly, not that great. Across the way, we have a Chun pair, a floating Dora, which is the east wind, and pretty good shapes other than that. And on the left, we have a Hatsu pair, a good Rionman in pin, and a bunch of pairs other than that.
just as much chance to go Chitoy as the dealer does.
Yeah, when you have that Yakuai pair, you're thinking Toy Toy might be better here.
That is true. The East has a lot of value, though, being the Dora. And the dealer might look to capitalize with that.
Interesting. Okay, Butterfly does not call at least the first Hatsu. It just feels like it's a long way away from any hands, so I'd probably just start calling. In the meantime, Q's hand starts looking a little better. Not much value yet, but you draw the 7-pin, and all of a sudden it looks pretty good.
And Butterfly, yeah, I'd say Butterfly might be just trying to hedge their bets on a Ricci, perhaps, to at least unlock the opportunity at more.
So, and throwing the 3 of them on, that is a full sellout on Chitoy. I do not like the Chitoy position, especially from only 4 pairs. This just feels like it may not have been much value, but you at least could have gotten something, and I'm just not seeing it now. I think there was a Toy path that was missed, especially with the 8, so which could have been called as well.
Meanwhile, dealer is Ishanten on Chitoy.
Yeah, I'd love that Ricci Chitoy Dora too. And honestly, could, with a couple draws, turn this into a Suanko type shape.
Oh, that would be something. Across the way, looks like an Anko on 5-pin now. Oh, there's another pair for dealer.
Tama instead. Ooh, and it could come out across the way anytime for Mister. But, ooh, he's
still
thinking about it
value,
right
though,
now.
waiting on that East, though.
He's thinking about it right now.
No.
It does. Deals in for 9,600 plus the 300 Homba. So that's a 10,000 direct hit on first place. And just like that, they're right next to each other.
I'm surprised you aren't mentioning that he could have gotten Ipatsu with that.
Well, I don't know that it would have been thrown into the Ipatsu. But I probably would have Richi'd anyway, because I don't think anyone's throwing it that late. I apparently would be wrong. And we move on to South 2-2. Dealer has a nice little Hatsu Yakuhai in decent shapes in pin. Off on the right, we have a couple pairs, possible 4-5-6 Sanchiku across the way. We have very standard Pinfu type shapes with Ishanten already for Richi Pinfu Dora Tanyao. And on the left, we have maybe a 4-5-6 Sanchiku, but probably just a standard Tanya Pinfu.
And yes, so good stuff happening over on the dealer's hand here. We have
Tenpai across the way for Richi Pinfu Dora, waiting on the 5-pin, 8-pin. Drew the cheap end, so won't get Tanya on this. But we have 4 of those left on the wall, 2 5-pin and 2 8-pin.
Good quick Ricci there. Especially being in the lead.
Okay, Q, you got me big last time. Now I'm going to take some points back from you as dealer. And all of a sudden, Q says not so fast with a nice little Ishanten here.
Dropping the Chun, yeah. The White Dragon would be another one to drop here in a little bit.
Oh, there's a Tenpai Richi for Tenpai on Formon Hatsu for Richi Dora, potentially Hatsu.
And now that's the decision before Tech Bro.
Yeah, you throw the Southwind first, then you'll have to think about it long and hard, and that's just good. Because when you have a discard pile like Q has, what do you throw against it?
Exactly.
Gong.
but doesn't have to deal with that
Oh.
because the 8-pin comes out and deals in for Ricci Pinfu Dora. No aura, but that does claw back about half of what was dealt into Q the previous hand.
And now we're tied for second, 314 each. I believe Q would get the advantage there. In that
Split
case.
in ARML, but I have to check. And we move
It's not
into
likely
South.
to stay that way anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't think Tenho will display it, but I think that's how ARML counts it because we follow WRC rules on that. But we go into South 3, and dealer has yuck. You really don't like those 2-4 in multiple suits, but there's some potential here. It just feels like you're going to have to do a lot of maneuvering to make it happen. On the right, we have a nice little East pair and White Dragon pair. Maybe Honitsu, but that's probably a long way. Also possible Chitoy or Toy Toy now. Across the way, we have very nice shapes in Mon. Not quite Ishan 10, but you could add a whole bunch of options there. A distant 3-4-5 Sanchoku as well. On the left, pretty standard Pinfu shape, maybe an Ipeiko on the 4-5-6 pin.
Mr. calling the Haku right away, looking to put the gas on and get this game finished before another explosive hand happens, perhaps.
Oh, and that 5 Mon's very tempting. The question is, how greedy do you want to be? And I like the 7 Mon cut here.
Q picks up a 5 Mon, though. That'll fit nicely in his hand.
And that hand's really starting to look expensive, especially if you can draw something to add the Sanchoku there. Maybe even Sanchoku and Tanyao. Sanchoku, Tanyao, and Ipeiko.
Dealer, meanwhile, like you said, maneuvering to make this hand, but it just might work out, looks like, with that 6 Mon draw.
Yes, it
Just
is
his way
now
to go.
Ishan 10. There's not much value, but you'll take it.
You don't need value as much while dealer.
Yeah, it's Rian Shan 10, but maybe you should go Tanyao throwing the 2-1 Mons. But in the meantime, Q says, I was dreaming of a lot more, but it's getting late and I'm just going to start calling.
Ricci.
And we have Ricci from across the table. Looking at a 4 pin, 2 of which reside in Tech Bro's hand. The other
It'll
one
be
in
Ricci
Q's hand.
Sanchoku, so you are getting some value here.
Other 4 yet to be seen.
Issa Strong gives Mr. some safe tiles, decides not to really chase this down, doesn't have any reason to. Oh, we do have Tenpai now for Q, waiting on 3-pin, 6-pin. And we see, oh, and there's another one of those. They're going to die off. There's only one 3-pin left and one 6-pin, I believe. Yes, 1 3 and 1 6.
Mr. picking up a Dora, though. Trying to think. Well, looks like he's just folding now.
Mr. has no reason to pursue this hand at all. If Tech Bro finds something to walk back in, then sure. And there's the last 4 pin, so that weight's now dead.
Unfortunate.
Gina's just had horrible luck this hunt, Sean. There's not much you can do about it. Still, nothing's going to be as savage as that all 3 pay sitting in the dead wall on you. It's just they say the word when it comes out.
Yeah, they're listening now. In the meantime, 3 and the 6.
Tech Bro says, I had a path back in, but I'm not buying it anymore. And breaks most of the paths forward. Didn't want to throw the 9 on.
Oh, calling on the 6.
In the meantime, Mr. says there's a way back. Especially the 5-pin is discarded by dealer who started folding.
Not a lot of safe tiles, though. At least not that I know of.
Nope, that's going to be it. We have 2 players Tenpai at the end of the hand. Yeah, not
so
worried
much
about
on the
that
hands, I forget that the wall's almost out.
Yeah, well, with that, Q jumps into second place and is within striking range of first because Mr. is last dealer in first.
A direct hit would definitely break those dreams of taking
or
this
even a
one
Mongun
home.
Sumo, because that's a 12,000 point
Yeah.
swing. But Mister starts off with a pretty good hand.
Mhm.
Not quite Ishunten, but pretty close. The problem is you have a Kanchan in lower Mon with a 1-2 and a Kanchan 6-8 pin. On the right, we have, well, not much. And it just doesn't get any better. Across the way, we have a similar 1-2 Penchon, although that helps a little bit. There's not too much value yet, though. Not seeing how you get Mongon from this to overtake first. May just go for a standard hand. On the left, we have a South pair, which is actually very important for Tech Bro, because Tech Bro wants to get over 30,000 to avoid the negative UMA. So even if you take third, you're probably fine with it. Of course, you'd love more.
Meanwhile, Butterfly, I think, is possibly going for Kokoshi here. I mean, why not? It's late in the game. This is your last chance to score.
Looks
To
at the hand and basically reads it the way I do, which is this hand just isn't going to come together, and goes for the prayer. Now you could start thinking about a standard type hand. If you maybe have an Itsu in Pen, you have a completed run in So, and one of those Yakuai pairs up, you could end up going for a regular hand here. It would be even nicer if you get the East to pair up. Then I definitely go that direction.
Yeah, definitely some shapes forming up now. That won't help. But you leave your options open.
I think the hand to watch those dealer, who's now backed into an Ishanten for potentially Richi Pinfu Sanjuku with a 6-7-8.
Yes, 6, 7, 8, and
Oh, okay. Q
7s are.
figured out a way to
Oh,
make this into something nice.
there's
Oh,
the
there's
7.
the Tenpai.
1
Could dominate. I don't like. Yeah, I like the Richi. Force the table to fight you. For Richi Pinfu, winning on the 8 is also Sanjuku 8 mon, and winning on the 5 mon is just the Richi Pinfu.
Wait,
But it does
pressure
make it
to.
awkward. Q has to break up one of his shapes, does not want to throw the 8 pin into this. And that's what you're doing, putting pressure on the table. This is the other power of Ricci. Yes, it gives extra value, but also scares people. And I think Q should have been pushing a lot more, especially that one Mon had no reason to stay in the hand, but decides to dodge the Ipatsu turn and may end up paying for it because that hand's going to be completely shut down now.
It's one way to add pressure to an already pressured situation with this being South 4.
Well, and the other thing is you
Hmm,
have to think about if there's a big dealer sumo here, you're knocked under the 30,000 as well.
True. There goes your positive UMA. Looks like Butterfly's giving up on the Kokoshi if there ever was a
1
chance there,
High off
and
on the
just gonna
left for
fold at
Ricci
this point.
only with the 4-7. So Tech Bro says, okay, I'll come to your rescue and maybe even steal second from it all. Because we're
Hmm.
looking at the middle, and there are 3 Ricci sticks here. So any win, I
Wow.
believe, takes over second place.
Yeah. In a way, still very
And it will
close, but
steal
there's the
in.
4.
Ricci only. Get any aura? No aura. It is
Nope.
4,600, and that is enough to take second place from
Hmm.
Q. And unfortunately for Butterfly, that means the minus 20 UMA because 3 people end up over 30,000. Q with plus 2.9, Tech Bro with 8.5, Mister with 25.7, and as mentioned earlier, Butterfly with a minus 37.1. And all of a sudden in a really bad place.
Hmm. Yeah, you hate to see it, but again, hope springs eternal with this second session coming up. And all the sessions are from it. There's still very many opportunities to strike back. Meanwhile, though, Minko can go to sleep tonight. Pretty happy with their performance in this first session. 2 first, 2 second, 72.1 has a pretty nice lead there in the pool.
Yeah, you're thrilled with that. And of course, this comeback just in this last hand really helps because, of course, not only do you get second, but that Ricci only with all those Ricci sticks in the middle really add up because you were looking at -6. And now, as we see, it's an 8.5. And you're feeling really good there.
Absolutely.
Any
Still
closing
some.
thoughts?
Well, as you've said, it's wide open. There's still plenty of dreams that can be had. I know we're going to get a Suanko by the time this season's over. Just with the rate they've been coming up, that's one's got to work. Yeah. So I know I keep doing the call to action thing a whole lot on this stream, but hit that follow button. We got some amazing games coming up for you. Not even just this week. Plenty more A2 action, but all the way down the road as we go through season 1 here.
2 new broadcasts coming up. Tomorrow we have another table at A2 featuring Claire Pozniak. And on Thursday, we have the return of my table. Lucas has fixed his internet problems, is not in a hotel in the middle of nowhere. So we will have those 3 A1 games.
Well, if not to put you on the spot or anything, you have a message for them before we pick that series back up.
Don't take my points, please. Thanks.
Well, we'll see what happens.
All right. For Blane, this is Corak of the American Ricci Mahjong League signing off. Take care, everyone.
Have a good